If you're listening to this, an audio version, you were denied the beauty of my salmon-colored T-shirt. Beautiful Tristar.
You look good in it.
I look very good in your shirt. Thanks for coming here, brother.
Pleasure. Glad to be here.
Pleasure to have you, man. I use one of your expressions all the time, the touch of death. And there is no better example than what we saw Saturday night with Deontay Wilder. Jesus Christ, can that guy punch?
I had him losing all the rounds.
Yeah, me too.
And I thought one round was really close, could go either way, but I had it 6-0. And that right hand, my God.
It's so crazy. It doesn't even make sense.
When you look at that shot, it landed it above, like, kind of like in the forehead, this area.
Yeah.
Not even on the chin.
No.
Usually here, if you're a powerful puncher, you could daze a guy.
Yeah.
But put him out the way he did.
Yeah.
Wow.
And no wind-up, too.
No wind-up.
Just right from here. Bam!
That's touch of death.
Crazy.
Touch
like
of death.
Nobody ever. Think about that guy's record. 41 knockouts. 1 decision, 1 draw.
It's incredible.
Undefeated, 41 knockouts in 42 fights. I mean, that is bonkers.
And he was getting outboxed. Like, he's not the best boxer.
Well, he doesn't care to box with you.
Yeah, that's right.
He knows.
Yeah.
Like, it's such a crazy strategy because out of anyone that has ever fought in the heavyweight division, he is the one guy that literally can shut everyone's lights out with one shot. Everyone's a knockout artist. Foreman was a knockout artist. Frazier, Tyson, of course, was a knockout artist. But not like this guy. This guy's got, it's like another level of craziness.
I would agree. I mean, he knows himself. That's what's so beautiful. If he was less strategic, he would have started fighting really early. And maybe zap that power he has. But he knows. He knows exactly. He didn't care he lost 6 rounds. He had no qualms about it. And he got hurt just before he knocked out Ruiz. He was hurt. And he stayed calm. He's like, oh, now you're going to come for it? Now you're going to walk into the right. And bang.
Yeah.
It's incredible.
Well, I think he also knew that from the first fight, Ortiz started to fade. And the first fight was very similar in that the first few rounds, there was very little action. And then it started to pick up. And then Ortiz started to fade. But Ortiz put it on him in that first fight. If you watch that first fight, you're like, wow, this is a crazy rematch for him to take. But in this fight, he just fought a perfect strategy, just waiting. And people, oh my God, I was on Twitter reading people. This guy can't even box. Like, did you not see what happened? You say he can't box. He's undefeated. He's the fucking heavyweight champion of the world. He tied Muhammad Ali for the most title defenses ever. Did you really just say he can't box? In fact, he's a professional boxer.
Go in there with him then. Go in there. If I laced you up right before you would be like, you'd be so petrified you would turn white and faint.
The way he punches is so strange. It's so strange. And you know, when he fought Tyson Fury, he told me he weighed 209 pounds.
Oh, really?
209.
That's it?
That's it.
Wow.
Crazy.
Wow.
He's a phenomenon. Like, all humans are not created equal. Some people just have a beautiful hand of cards.
Yes.
Like, that guy's got 4 aces, and he puts them right in your face. Boom!
He understands what he's good at, and he fights that way, which is brilliant.
Yes.
Because I always tell my students, fighting is 2 things. It's one is level. You got to get to a certain level. And then the second thing, you have to figure out your style. Like, you have to know everything about what you do. Like, for instance, if you look at Ali and Tyson, they fought totally differently. 2 equally, in my opinion, like, okay, we could split hairs and say who was better. Let's say they fought, it would be very competitive. Whoever you think would win in that fight, it would be very competitive. Ali fights the total opposite of Tyson. Ali circles supposedly the wrong way. If you look at the book of boxing, they tell you don't circle towards the power side. He doesn't care. In his style, it makes sense. He's up on his toes. He's jabbing. He rarely ever throws a body shot. He's thrown a handful of body shots in his entire career. Whereas Tyson is the total opposite. He marches forward. He has that peekaboo style. He has that, he's got the gloves tied up to his chin. And a totally different style. If Tyson tried to fight like Ali, he would lose. But they're at the same level. But they figured out, hey, what am I good at? What advantages do I have physically? What disadvantages do I have physically? And that's why at one point you have to figure out your style. And I feel that's where most fighters fall apart. They never figure out their style. They're trying to do what some trainer told them. They're trying to do what the guy they most admire in the ring does. They never find out exactly what's best for them.
That's such a good point, because it's such a creative art form in that way. And I do believe that martial arts are an art form. I really do, because to me, it's so beautiful. Like, even that right hand that Deontay landed, that to me was gorgeous. There's never been a prettier sunset or a more beautiful mountain. Just blap! Watch that spray. That's the way you see the spray of the sweat come off his head, and then Ortiz crumbles, and Deontay walks away like this, chest up, like, motherfucker, you're not getting up. He knew he wasn't getting up. He knew. When he dropped him, he walked off right away. Like, he knew he was calm. It's the way he walked off, too.
Yeah,
it's just like, he knows.
He knew.
God damn, that guy's got crazy power. But what you said is so important, because it's a creative endeavor. You're trying to figure out how to land shots, and you're also trying to disguise what your ideas are, what your tactics are, and you got to figure out what works best for your body type. And that's so open-ended. Like, martial arts it's so open-ended. Once the referee says fight, there's all this creativity involved. And that's something that I think a lot of people don't really appreciate.
100%. Sometimes you have a trainer who kills that creativity, because he tells you, look, this is how you fight.
Right.
And if you go outside of that mold, no, you're reprimanded.
Yes.
So me, if a fighter wants to drop his hands, should you drop your hands in a fight, or should you hold them up? Well, it depends what kind of guy you are. If you got incredible eyes and you see shots coming from a mile away, and you're successful with your hands down, or one hand down per se, let's say, then keep doing it. But you gotta, that's why I think sparring is so important, because when we spar, we actually try it. Now we're testing, hey, does this airplane fly? Or is it gonna crash and burn? Well, we better test it in the gym before we take it out in the arena and find out it doesn't fly. And I always tell guys, look, if you're fighting with your hands down, show me in practice that you're successful. Then I won't say anything negative. I won't change your style. I'll let it be. But first we have to see that you're successful, because theories is one thing, but then when you get in there and try it, it's a whole other.
Well, Wonderboy Thompson is an excellent example of that.
Exactly.
I mean, he fights so well with his hands down. And he is, to me, the consummate karate-style fighter that has made the perfect transition to MMA, because he fights so well with his hands down. You don't know where stuff's coming. You don't know whether it's coming up, whether it's coming around, whether it's going straight at you. And you don't see it until you're looking at his body, and these things are coming up from his hands being down like this, and he's standing sideways.
You can take him to the wrong trainer and ruin him. Let's say he was really young and he was forbidden that style. Because some trainers do that. They forbid a certain style. They forbid a certain type of maneuver or style altogether. Like, for instance, in the 70s, most trainers would not train a left-handed boxer. They'd switch you around. No, I don't train left-handed. You got to be right. We got to convert you. But that's a detriment to the fighter. Because your trainer is limited in he only understands fighting in one way. Now I'm going to limit my fighter. It's totally wrong in my opinion.
What do you think about fighters who say that even if you're a right-handed person, there's an advantage to fighting as a southpaw, because you have your most dexterous hand, the hand that you have the most control of is your lead hand, and you're also fighting in this unusual stance that is only like, what is southpaws, like maybe 2 out of 10 people, something like that?
Right. Here in the West, yeah.
Yeah.
And if you go to Asia, it's a lot more. But
is it really?
Yeah, the Asians are more southpaw. I think, the wheel of the car is on the other side.
Oh.
And there's stick shift. I don't know. It's like a left-handed world almost. A lot of things are the other way around.
Huh.
Yeah, like they drive on the other side of the road. The driver's on the other side of the car. So I don't know. Maybe it affects the way you're developed. But I agree. Like, I always tell fighters, try both sides and see which one you like better. I can't tell you which one you're more comfortable with. Maybe one of your eyes is the stronger. So when you're like this, it's kind of killing you. So you need to be like that. You never know until you test. So I like to let the guys figure it out. So when people tell me, do I grab it like this or like that? In some instances, there's a right way and a wrong way. As far as we know, one way is right, one way is wrong. And sometimes it doesn't make a difference. I tell guys, grab like you're comfortable. Because I do it the way I like to do it. I don't do it the way my trainer showed me. So in this particular instance, I say it's a question of comfort. Like, people freak out if you grab a kimura like this with your thumb. I don't. In some instances, I grab the kimura with my thumb. In some instances, I don't. So I just show people both, and I say, look, that part, it's up to you.
You certainly can finish it by using the thumb.
Sure, and in some instances, it's stronger with the thumb. In some instances.
Yeah, because you have better hand control.
Sure.
Yeah, just clamping down on it, you're actually isolating it. Yeah, I mean, some people have just ridiculous grip with their hands, too, and that should play a factor in there as well. Do you remember Semi Schilt?
Yeah.
Simi Schilt had hands that are as big as his table. And he'd grab a hold of guys' wrists and they'd be just fucked. Like, if you were in his guard, he'd just grab your wrist. Like,
Yeah, he did that with Fedor. He was like,
this is you for the whole round. It's like,
Venom Page did that with Lima.
Yes.
You remember that?
Yes.
It was like
yes.
just crazy grip.
Well, that's a great fight too, huh? Lima, that's an argument for me. That Lima is one of the arguments for me where I feel like there's got to be, as a fan, I want to see Lima fight the best 170-pounders in the world. So a co-promotion. I know the UFC never wants to see a co-promotion because that pumps up Bellator. But right now, Lima, especially after he just decisioned Rory, you know, and the way he knocked out Michael Page. I mean, nobody's done that to Page before. And the way he did it, like, that guy can put anyone to sleep.
Can I ask you, who did you give round 1 to? Page versus Lima. I thought it was 50. Like, I was right around the middle.
I'd have to watch it again because all I remember was Lima starching him.
In round 1?
No. I mean, when did it end?
Round 2. Round 2, he just...
Yeah.
But he got hurt right before he knocked him out. Like, he got a little wobbled, and then he kind of got his base again, and then low kick, boom, uppercut.
Yeah.
Vicious.
Yo, he's so dangerous. He's so dangerous, and his low kicks are some of the best in the world.
I never seen better.
First fight with Rory.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ, that swelling on his leg. Didn't he say that it took like 6 months before he could use
his
it
leg's
right?
still not the same.
Really? Really?
Well, it's like it tore some fascia, so if you look at it, his leg is a little bit like there's like some hanging soft tissue. Yeah.
Oh, I mean, that's like Pedro Hizzo. You remember Pedro Hizzo when he's fighting heavyweight?
Yeah.
He would kick guys in the leg, and they'd have this look on their face like, what in the fuck is that?
Yeah.
Yeah, there's levels.
That's why in the rematch we want to make sure we got to take that off the table. You know.
Yes.
I look forward to a trilogy match, so it's 1-on-1 now. You know.
But Roy's had some conversations where he's talked about like not fighting again.
You know what? I think he's had some mixed emotions, but I think he's clear he wants to fight now. Like, there's no question about it. I think it was just that moment in the ring, and he was emotional. But once his head clears up, like, he wants to fight again. Like, I don't think you could stop him from fighting. Like, he loves to fight.
Well, he's so good.
He's so good. He'll be back.
And what did you think when he went up to fight Mousasi? I was worried about that fight. I didn't like that fight.
I didn't like that fight either. But, you know, if you want to win double gold, you got to take that risk. But personally, I'll be honest with you. I don't think you should fight a champion in his prime when you're a weight class below. Like, when they were asking for BJ Penn versus George, I was like, yeah, let's do it. George is in his prime right now.
Right.
You want to bring a champion and the guy with another belt? But I think it was a bad decision for BJ. Like, if I was BJ's trainer, I wouldn't let him do that. Right. Like, for instance, when they wanted to put him with Anderson Silva, I said, look, give me a game plan that I'm really confident in, and then we'll do it. But maybe not when he's at his prime. Like, it's just too dangerous. And I'll tell you why. You can win, but then shorten your career.
Yes.
Because at that level,
15
pounds more is 15 tons more. Like,
well, there's fights that people win, and even if they won, like my position on Stipe versus Francis Ngannou is very similar. I mean, I know Stipe won that fight, but Jesus Christ, Francis Ngannou, he scares the shit out of me, man. He hits people so hard. When he knocked out Alistair, I mean, literally, like, you saw his soul leave his body. And then Stipe survives that fight, but then gets KO'd by DC with one punch shortly afterwards. And it's something that I don't want to take anything away from DC because he clearly landed that punch. It was clearly a strategy of working in the clinch, and is a beautiful punch. And who knows? Maybe he lands that beautiful punch in the rematch and he knocks him out again. Maybe it could have happened, but it didn't. Yep. And I wondered how much of that punch having such a dramatic effect on Stipe, who's had an amazing chin most of his career, how much of that was because of that incredible war that he had with Francis. Because the first round of that was terrifying.
Yeah, it was.
Terrifying.
And the thing is, if Ngannou loses, he's going to lose in a way that's not so bad. But if you lose to Ngannou, it could be the end of your career.
Yes.
Like, you may never be the same.
Yes.
So did he help DC? Well, for sure. You know, it's all cumulative, right?
Yes.
Excuse me. But other fighters, I mean, John Jones helped Miocic as well. But I get what you're saying. Like, Ngannou's got the touch of death. Like, if I was his trainer, I'd put him in boxing as well. Like, I'd be looking at boxing fights.
Well, you know, he's talking about that.
Well, he should be.
He has a few fights left on his UFC deal. And apparently his idea is to one day make his way into boxing, which is just a fantastic idea. He's so big. He's lifting weights again, apparently. Just randomly, I ran into his agent at this place called Dreamscape. Do you know what Dreamscape is?
No.
Dreamscape is this cool virtual reality thing in LA. You put on these goggles and you go through this adventure. And his family and my family did it together, just randomly, just happened to be teamed up together.
Oh.
And we were talking about Francis, and he was saying that Francis wants to eventually fight as a boxer, as a heavyweight boxer. That's his dream. And that right now he's been lifting weights and he's like well over 270. He's apparently like 275, 279, somewhere in that range.
But he's got to be careful with weights, because weights could actually make you weaker. Like if you balloon yourself up too far, it can gas you out, and later on, like you can lose the sustainability of your power.
Right.
There's a right amount of muscle for each athlete. I mean, I don't know. I don't agree that bigger is always better, more power. It's not necessarily the case, but he has to stay within his natural limits for optimal power.
Also, he has to make sure that, look, at a guy that big, at 279 pounds, he's probably not really accustomed to cutting weight. There he is. Boom, boom.
Oh, my goodness.
The guy's got some thighs on him. The power that guy has, though, just ridiculous. So he's at the UFC Performance Institute, so he gets a chance to use they have an amazing facility there. Have you trained down there at all?
Yes, I have. I've been there a few times.
It's incredible.
I was actually supposed to work with Ngannou, but we had a little trouble connecting, but like getting him in the country and all that. But I was supposed to work with him.
Into Montreal?
Yeah.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, but I mean, I would definitely put him in boxing. So I would do both. I would do MMA and boxing. But like it's like in Thailand. You know, in Thailand, if you've got good hands, like if you do a couple of Muay Thai fights, and you knock a couple guys out with your hands, they take you right away into boxing. Like they see the potential. Yeah, because there's more money in boxing. If you're world champion Muay Thai, it's not the same as being world champion in boxing.
How much do you think Deontay Wilder won this weekend?
I don't know, but the way he's winning, it's got to be something special.
I hope
it's got to be. He's heavyweight world champion. Yes,
I would hope. But the interesting thing too is this tournament that's involved. This unofficial tournament, right? Because what do we have? Are we a week or so away from the rematch between Andy Ruiz and Anthony Joshua?
It's got to be coming up soon.
Somewhere, I think it's about a week. I think it's next weekend. But that fight, whoa. That's another one. And Joshua looks so good in training. And Andy Ruiz, man, you can't judge that guy on his belly.
You don't know nothing if you think that's what it is. You think that's what fighting is? Do you guys have a tissue somewhere? Sorry, my nose is like... Thank you.
His hands are spectacular. The fluidity of his combinations, it's gorgeous, man.
The Mexican Rocky.
Oh, he's so good. I love watching that guy throw combinations. And when he fought Joshua, that was the thing, was if he hit him once, he's going to hit him 13, 14, 15 times after that. Bang, 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 bang. And the hands are like a middleweight's hands. I mean, he's so fast.
He moves beautifully.
He takes a shot great too. And he's such a sweet, unassuming guy. Like he wins the title, and you're like, "Fuck yeah!" Like you're happy for him. He's such a nice guy, man.
But do you think Joshua underestimated him?
Well, the word is, and this is from people that really know what's going on. This is I can't give specifics, but apparently Joshua got knocked out in training.
Oh, really?
Yes, like a couple weeks out, like bad, and. That's one of the reasons why they say his father was so furious at the promoter after Ruiz knocked him out. And it's also one of the reasons they said that he had some sort of a panic attack in the locker room leading up to the fight. So if he was compromised and he knew he was compromised, and you know as well as anybody, there's certain knockouts that you can get in the gym that can fuck a fighter up for months.
Oh, yeah, of course.
Yeah.
I've seen it. That's why in the practice room, I don't like rough training. Like certain fighters who are coming up to a fight, I'll let it go further. I get it. We need the intensities. But I don't like to go in the gym and see this guy knocked out this guy, then this guy knocked out this guy. And then what happens, you go in the practice room, there's nobody there the next week for sparring.
Right.
Sparring has to be practice, not fighting.
Right.
So if I had a world champion and he's sparring and I felt one of his sparring partners was out of control, I would definitely have a talk with him or not use him anymore. Like when George spars, I pick all his rounds, but they have to be reasonable rounds, not touch sparring, but not also being malicious and trying to injure each other.
But George told me that you told certain guys to try to knock him out.
Yes. Yeah, that's true also. I put a bounty on him as well. Because the guys at one point, he was too famous, nobody wanted to touch him no more.
Oh.
And it was too low.
Oh, I see.
So I'm like, listen,
too low.
Put him on the ground. I'm going to Twitter it for you. Your Tinder is going to explode. You're going to become famous. You're going to be #1 man on Tinder. Everybody's swiping right for you. You're the guy who took GSP down. Like I pumped them up because they're too, it's GSP.
Right.
So there's a balance. There's too little and then there's too much, So, I mean, if you're trying to throw vicious knees when, if I see you're trying to be rough, overly rough, because this is a control. You know, if I touch you, I'm gonna back off if I hurt you. But if I touch you and I'm trying to knee you and kick you and I'm trying to like,
Right.
that's like, hey, this guy's. And the thing is with George, sometimes I'll keep a guy fresh, so he'll be two rounds in, then I put in a fresh guy. So that fresh guy has to have some control as well, because George is tired now.
Right.
You know, he's fatigued and etc. So I mean, there's a balance. There's too little and there's too much. So if you get knocked out in practice before a title fight, it could be an accidental, but it could also be negligence. The guys are just too rough. Because sometimes you do go in boxing gyms and it's like kill or be killed.
Yes.
That's the attitude.
Yeah. Well, it's a lot of MMA gyms as well.
I agree. Yeah.
And it's very unfortunate because a lot of people, they ruin their career inside the gym because they're sparring not just once a week, but twice, 3 times a week. And they might get concussed. They might get concussed on Tuesday and spar again on Thursday. And that's very, very common.
Absolutely.
And there's no regulation. No one's stopping you from sparring. If you got head kicked tomorrow, no one's stopping you from showing up on Saturday and putting your mouthpiece in and going into class.
It's nuts.
It's nuts.
It's nuts.
And I think most people don't think about those sparring sessions as being cumulative, like that adding on to the number. I always tell people to look at their brain like a punch ticket. Like let's say you have 100 spots on that punch ticket. Don't use them up sparring with some guy where you just decide to bite down your mouthpiece and go to war with this guy for no reason. If you want to be a professional fighter, you have to act like a professional. You have to treat your profession with respect and think that you only have a certain amount of time in the game. And that's what, I mean, this thing that you teach and this thing that I love, this mixed martial arts, it must be treated with respect, because when done perfectly and when done and when someone wins a title, when someone has an amazing run like George did when he was the welterweight champion, I mean, it's a truly spectacular thing. But it can also go terribly wrong. And you have to, like, it's one of the reasons why I asked you, is Rory want to fight? And you said, yes, he wants to fight. Nothing can stop him. That's beautiful. I want to hear that. The worst thing you could see is someone who maybe doesn't really want to fight anymore, and they keep fighting and they keep getting knocked out, and no one tells them, hey, you got to stop.
I was talking to Freddie once upon a time, Freddie Roach, and he was telling me about, you know, different guys, how they train. And one boxer, I don't want to say his name, but he was telling me that guy's routine was 12 rounds of sparring every day.
Is that James Toney? I knew it.
You know, it's got to be him. He's one of the greatest counterpunchers of all time.
Oh yeah.
But when he was fighting in UFC,
well,
I know what you mean, but they had to put subtitles. He's speaking English.
Right. Yeah, you're right.
They had to put subtitles.
Yeah.
You know, at what price?
Yes.
At what price you can do 12 rounds a day? So there has to be, like, look at the Cuban boxers. They're not rough in practice. Look at the Thais. Right. They're not rough. They're technical.
The Thais especially. They play. I love Sanchai. Sanchai is one of the greatest Instagram pages too, because you see all his training, and you know he's sparring with no gloves on, no shin pads, and they just they're just tapping each other and slapping each other. And when he's not doing that, he's hitting pads, and then he fights.
And he'll fight bare knuckle, smiling ear to ear. He's going to a bare knuckle fight. They brought him a foreigner he's never seen before. The foreigner's 20 pounds heavy. He's got 80 fights. He doesn't care.
He doesn't give a fuck.
He doesn't even care. And it's bare knuckle, and he's there walking now. Yeah. And he's like, he's smiling. I'll be petrified. Listen, I'll be like, okay, this is it. Like, I got to kill her. The guy's so relaxed.
He has a beautiful style, too.
Incredible.
I love how light he is on his feet. Like, it's a perfect example of what you were saying. Even though he's fighting in this discipline, Muay Thai, he fights his own way. I mean, if you saw a silhouette of Sanchai fighting, you'd say, well, that's Sanchai. He's got his way. Light on the feet, switching stances all the time, moving. Like, really interesting style that he developed this.
Yeah. There's so many ways to do it, and you don't know which one is right till you try it on. That's what I always tell guys. When I show them a new technique, I say, do it for 2 weeks. If you don't like it after 2 weeks, I don't ask you to do it again. But you got to have that grace period, because sometimes you teach something to somebody, and I've done this too, where I learn a move and I'm like, no, I don't do guillotine like that. And then a year later, I'm like, that's my favorite way to do guillotine. Like, I changed my mind about it. Why? Because I tried it out. I actually figured out the nuances after exploring it a little bit more, and all of a sudden I like this guillotine above this one.
Do you ever fuck with this pretzel grip?
Yeah, sometimes.
That feels so weird when you do it in the air, but goddamn, when you do it on a person, it feels amazing. It feels like one of the best grips.
When I do this, I'm trying to sweep. So that's how, like, if I'm like this, I'm going to sweep you.
Oh, because you have more leverage on the forearms?
I feel my forearms inclined. So if I'm like this, my elbow's down. If I'm like this, my elbow's up. So now it's easier for me to to tilt you.
And then you got like Marcelo, who grabs the hand on the outside. He grabs like the blade of the hand, and that's his grip. And his thought is that he's sliding this in better, and also for the rear naked, which is his specialty. So if you're rolling, if he goes for that and he's rolling, he gets your back again, he's always sliding under the chin.
He's got a vicious guillotine. Like
he's got a vicious everything.
I felt it. Like you're tapping right away. Like there's no compromise. You know, it's...
Yeah, it's that it's a blade of the bone against the esophagus too. His style's so unique too, because everything was based on no big man moves, right? Like he didn't believe in Kimuras. He just doesn't do Kimuras.
No Kimura.
Because it's like, if you're doing a Kimura against a big giant guy, you're not going to be able to get it, because you're not going to be able to, he's going to wrestle out of it. So everything he did was all neck based.
Do you ever see a smaller guy Kimura a bigger guy?
Very, very, very,
so rare.
very rarely. Yeah,
so rare.
The guy has to be exhausted.
Right. So he uses it as a grip.
Yes.
But not as a finish.
Right.
Because his philosophy is if the finish doesn't finish everybody, it's not good enough.
Well, there's a lot of guys who teach a system based on Kimura traps, like using the Kimura to get to the back, using the Kimura to set up an armbar. And I think I'm a fan of a Kimura, and Jocko, who just left, he'll rip your fucking shoulders off. He's a Kimura master, but he's also a gorilla.
Yeah.
Jocko's 5'11", 240, and he's a tank.
Yeah.
He's all about ripping shoulders apart and neck cranks.
If he grabbed the Kimura on me, I'd be freaking out. Like I know that's really bad.
Yes.
I when I'm rolling with a bigger guy, I know that I have to do everything not to give them that grip.
Yes.
It's like you have to know the pros and cons of every hold. I believe in Kimura. I train my students in Kimura, because if you don't do Kimura, you're going to get caught in Kimura. Right.
And it's also an effective way to get out of certain situations.
Sure.
Yeah.
If you don't know Kimura, it's like if you don't know Dars, like when Dars came on the scene, everybody was getting Darsed by the guys who knew Dars.
Right.
When Anaconda came out on the scene, everybody was getting caught in Anaconda. Leg locks came out on the scene, it was leg lock fire. Everybody, if you don't know the leg lock game, you don't know the new leg lock game, you're done. So every time there's something new, I like to learn it. Whether I like it or not, long term, I still know it. So if you try it, like I know what you're up to. It's kind of like a magic trick. If you show it to me again, I'm not so surprised.
Right. What are your feelings on guys like Gary Tonin, who's doing fantastic now in MMA, but he hasn't really faced the upper level of competition? We're not seeing anybody with that style winning. I mean, since Paul Harris, who has a similar sort of modified, sort of but similar leg lock attack.
Look, I think ultimately the most important martial art is jiu-jitsu. And I'll tell you why. Because to beat jiu-jitsu, you need jiu-jitsu mixed with something else. Boxing, wrestling, taekwondo, whatever. But you got to have some jiu-jitsu. Because if you have zero jiu-jitsu and you're going into the fight, you're gonna get beat. Styles like jiu-jitsu need a lot of time. So if your foundation is jiu-jitsu, because how was jiu-jitsu developed in Vale Tudo? The Brazilians had no time limit. When they were fighting in Brazil, it was a 2-hour fight, a 3-hour fight. So what? You took me down, you held me down for 3 minutes. Nobody cares in Brazil. In Vale Tudo, nobody cares. The fight will go on till somebody taps. So takedowns were not as important. The fight's going to last 3-4 hours if it has to. It'll last whatever it is. Why wrestling is being so successful in MMA? One, it's a great sport for sure. But it's time sensitive. If I take you down in the middle of the round, you got 2.5 minutes to sub me or get back up to your feet. All I got to do is hold you down. And I won the round. I have to do minimal work. Now I'm up a round. You're down a round. You gotta come after me now. So there's a time sensitive issue. However, if I take you down and there's no time limit, I'm gonna behave very differently than if I know I can bank in this round. If there's just 2 minutes left, I'm gonna spend that energy to hold you down. I'm gonna spend that energy to kind of like shut you down and kind of like give you little punches. They're not fight enders, but they're round winning. So because we have these rules, that's why I loved Pride. It was a 10-minute round. Grappling needs more breathing room. It needs more time for it to work.
Yes.
Like, you look at Usman versus Damian Maia. In round 1, Damian Maia had a partial back take against the fence. And Usman was like almost giving his back.
He got fucked by the referee.
The referee, the state should never interfere. It's not a real fight. You got out of my controls because of the state, because of the referee, because of the whistle, because of the bell, whatever it is. We have to start in this position again. If I take you down on the ground and the bell rings, I should start again on the ground. There should be some basic positions that the referee's going to choose. We're starting in this position because that was the closest to what you guys had when we ended the fight.
I like that.
Yeah.
I like that.
How many fights would change? How much behavior would change? Fighters would train differently, fight differently, or make it 1 15-minute round.
I like that too.
Now you're going to see jiu-jitsu win.
You know what else I like? No cage.
No cage?
No cage.
What's it going to be?
How come they can play basketball in a giant court?
How about...
It's a big place to play basketball.
It is. But, okay, because you think there should be no interference with the fence.
How about a football field? Put them in the middle. What are the odds they're ever going to get to the edges?
But, okay, let's say we're to get into a fight right here.
Well, there's a lot of shit in here.
Exactly.
But this is an unnatural environment. What if we get in a fight in an elevator?
You
Should every fight take place in an elevator?
Why can't you
Wonderboy
protect
would
yourself?
never be able to use his moves.
You should be able to protect yourself in any environment. So
you can't throw a wheel kick in an elevator.
No, we can't.
But a wheel kick's a valid move.
Absolutely. But how about this? We don't know if it's going to be a cage, an office, a podcast, an elevator. You find that on fight night.
That would be crazy.
Be ready.
That would be crazy. It's just they roll the dice before the show.
Exactly. A giant wheel, maybe.
Yeah, like a wheel. It's like 5 or 6 different things on the wheel.
Exactly.
It could be anything. Football field, basketball court, cage, ring.
You don't know.
Yeah. Do you remember they did, I think, World Combat Club or World Combat League, where Wonder Boy came up, Chuck Norris.
Yeah.
They had like a ramp.
Bowl.
Yeah, like a bowl. Yeah. And you would fight on that. So they knew when they got to the elevated edges, but at least you could move. You're not restricted. But of course, there was no grappling in that. It was just straight kick. That was kickboxing PKA style, right? Like above the waist, wasn't it? Or did
they were leg kicks.
They were leg kicks.
And knee.
But they wore pants, right?
Pants?
Yeah.
And you're allowed to knee, but not allowed to clinch.
Look at this.
Yeah, this is beautiful.
Wonder Boy was a master at this too. It's so interesting seeing it in that bowl. But look, when you see it like that, there's no restriction as far as like there's no boundary to push up against. This is Wonder Boy in his actual kickboxing style. Mm-hmm. He was so good at like leaning away and then firing back, and then also that right high kick that he would throw over the shoulder where you didn't see it coming until it was too late.
Moneymaker.
Yeah, boy, that's a slippery ass floor they're fighting on.
Without the cage, we won't have cage techniques anymore.
That's true. That's true, but I feel like there's a lot of wrestling that gets done against the cage that's sort of assisted. It's assisted wrestling, assisted takedowns, and even takedown defense, right? It's if you're in the middle of the cage and you get up, that you earned that. That's legit. But if you're up against the cage, you can kind of press your back up against the cage. You can wall walk. You can get back to your feet. It's an added element. There is that sneaky right high kick, man. But this... I don't know if this would work with takedowns because, of course, someone would fire up and keep driving over the top.
The takedowns change everything.
Yeah, they do. The takedowns change everything. So do elbows and the clinch. So do headbutts. Headbutts change everything too. You know, I had David Leduc in here from Letway. You watch his fights, and you watch some of those Letway fights, you realize like that's legit, man.
Rory once he was like he was between contracts and he's like, book me a fight at Letway. I'm like, why do you want to fight Letway? He's like, because now's the time, or else I'll never get to fight with headbutts before I resign. He wanted me to take him down to the jungles of Letway
Jesus,
and book him a fight for $10 against some guy we don't know. No medical test. You're the foreigner. They want to, it's just, he's nuts. I was like, no, that's a really bad idea. He's like, come on, I'll never get to fight with headbutts or else. I'm like, okay, I hope you never fight with headbutts. I hope the day never comes.
Well, I mean, you remember the old days?
Yes.
Like Mark Holman. Mark Holman used to take guys down and smash their face with his head. He would hold on to their biceps and boom, headbutt you and punch you in the face. I mean,
a very dangerous attack.
Woo!
Killer.
Especially from a giant dude like that.
Very dangerous.
Yeah, it's also effective. I mean, the argument is, look, if you can punch me in the head, why can't I use my head to hit you? Right? If you can kick me in the head, what is so much more dangerous about me using my forehead to hit you with?
Long-term repercussion, don't you think?
I don't know.
Would it increase the level of concussions or decrease the level of concussion?
It's a good question.
Because for me, that's the major sin of our sport.
The concussion.
I wish we could take that away. If we could take that away, I think it would be better because these fighters would be healthier long term.
I'm hoping that medical science somehow steps in and comes up with a solution that's legitimate, similar to solution for repairing ligaments, right? Like if you have, we're not going to outlaw heel hooks, right? They're a real legitimate part of the game. But if you get someone in an inverted heel hook and you crank on that fucker, you might rip that guy's knee apart. So that guy might have to go and get everything replaced and get, cadaver ligaments and a fake ACL and all that jazz. We're not going to stop that, though. It's a legitimate technique. The side kick to the knee that we see a lot of guys use on the upper thigh where it hyperextends the knee. There's going to be someone who gets their knee blown out. I'm sure it's happened in other organizations. I don't think we've had it in the UFC. If they have, I haven't heard about it.
Whitaker, no? Did he hurt his knee?
He definitely hurt it, but I don't know
he didn't pop
if it blew out. And then he went and did it in the rematch with Yoel, right away. And also, Jorge Masvidal did that to Wonderboy. Oh, no, Darren Till did it to Wonderboy.
Oh, yes, that's true.
Same thing.
That's true.
That side kick to the thigh. So if there was a way that they could repair brain damage, the same way they could repair ligament damage, I'd be so happy.
Definitely.
IV, stem cell, some way. I mean, they're experimenting with things. And I know they're having some positive effects, but nothing is like, hey, you tore this, go to the doctor, he'll fix that. We're not there yet.
Because the thing is, like with the headbutts, the fighters are going to go and train headbutts after.
Right.
They're going to be hitting the bag. They're going to be doing all this thing. And what is the training going to do to their head?
Well, have you seen what Laduca does?
No.
He does headbutts on the pads. Oh. So he'll do like a combination on the pad and then a headbutt. Seems okay.
Yeah, but let's see when he's 50.
Well, he's only like 28.
Yeah, exactly. Give him a call when he's 50. Let's see.
He won't even know what a phone is.
What's that noise? I think health first. For sure, we're not living in a bubble. People always tell me, like some guy wrote me an email recently, like tell me he was in tears. He's trying to stop his kids from doing MMA, and to give him something to convince them not to do MMA because there was the boxer had died. And you know what? The thing is, we don't want to live in a bubble. I don't want to live in a bubble. Everything I do, I take a risk in life. I calculate, is this look, I'm petrified of airplanes. I'm petrified. But when I take a flight, I'm like, is this an acceptable risk in my life? Yeah, it's safe. It's just psychological. I'm being irrational here. And I get on that flight. Statistically, is MMA safe? It is. People don't die in MMA. It's like in any sport, people will die. Like if you look at football, there's going to be deaths. If you look at running, there's going to be deaths. There's death everywhere. However, statistically, it's safe. They take every measure, and the referee is there. They do a medical test before, after. I mean, it's as safe as it can be. And look what it gives us. It gives us proof of what real martial arts is. Because before MMA, we didn't know what fighting was. Like, we had many theories, but it's not what we have today. And if you look at what we were doing before UFC, it was totally different.
Yeah, it's crazy what happened in 26 years.
Yeah.
26 years, the world has just been flipped on its head. I've said many times that we have had more advancement and innovation and more growth in martial arts over the last 26 years than we have over the last 2,000 years. And that's a fact. There's no getting around that. It's just an instantaneous burst of knowledge and understanding of what works and what doesn't work.
And the Gracie family is a huge part of that.
Gigantic.
Gigantic.
Huge. The most important family in the history of martial arts.
I agree.
Yeah. I don't even think there's a close second.
Most influential. Maybe most influential.
Yes.
Yeah. Influential.
Yes.
Definitely. Which reminds me of Crone Gracie's fight. What did you think of that against Cub Swanson?
Well, it's a big jump up.
Yes.
Cub Swanson, massive amount of experience. I mean, against elite world-class competition, fought Jose Aldo back in the WEC days. I mean, Cub Swanson is a stud. He's been there, done that.
He could be champion.
Yes.
He could be champion.
Yes, he could be champion. And he's also a legitimate black belt in jiu-jitsu, too. So he's not easy to submit. And for Crone to go from Alex Caceres right into Cub Swanson, that's a giant leap. And look, Crone's jiu-jitsu is top of the food chain. I mean, he is an absolute legitimate world champion caliber jiu-jitsu talent from the best DNA the world's ever known, right? He's the fucking son of the king, right?
Now, can I ask you a very tough question?
Please.
If there was no time limit, Cub Swanson versus Crone, who wins?
I saw no evidence.
I wish we could watch round 3.
I saw no evidence that Crone was taking Cub down.
No, the takedowns were not going to come just yet. I think it would take a while.
Yeah,
but do you think Crone was going to go away?
No, I don't
He
think
wasn't
he's
going away.
He's an animal.
He's got a heart of a lion.
He's got a heart of a lion. Takes a tremendous shot, both to the face and to the body.
No fear.
No fear.
No fear.
No fear. Real warrior.
If there was no time limit, I'm telling you, I don't know who wins that fight.
Yeah, I mean, he won a decision, right? You could always use that argument if someone wins a decision. And Crone never stopped coming, right?
No, he didn't even look like he was
Right.
remotely going to start thinking of slowing down.
But I mean, there's the other question is, how much does he endure if that fight goes 30 rounds? I mean, how many more shots to the head does he take, and does eventually his brain give out?
I don't know. That's
I don't
the question.
know. I mean, maybe he catches Cub. I mean, he can punch.
Yeah.
I mean, that was one of the reasons why it was so competitive and interesting. I mean, basically, it was a kickboxing fight, right?
Mm-hmm.
And in that kickboxing fight, the jiu-jitsu master landed good shots. I mean, Cub's face was cut up at the end of the fight.
Yeah, it was
it's
marked
not
up.
like he was untouched. So I think what a guy like Crone needs is a guy like you. I mean, that's what he needs.
I would love to work with Crone.
I mean, that's what he needs. I don't know who. I know he does a lot of work with the Diaz brothers. I know he does a lot. He has his own gym. He has a very successful jiu-jitsu school of his own. But I think a guy like that needs to just put together the overall game so that you could see the best expression of his jiu-jitsu, which is ultimately going to be his strength. But I think that has to be expressed in a more confusing and harder to solve puzzle. And so right now, here's the puzzle. Walk towards you, throw punches. Once I get you, I'm going to strangle you. But if I don't get you, maybe I don't strangle you. And a guy like Cub knows he's coming. So the thing about a guy who comes forward all the time is it's so much easier to counter than it is to attack.
It
right?
is.
It's way easier. That's Anderson Silva's whole game. You remember the fights where Anderson Silva had boring fights, like Talis Leites?
The guy's not coming forward.
Yeah, hung back. Yeah, the guys who just hang back. You know, Patrick Cote, same thing. Just hung back.
When you're fighting a counter puncher, don't give him anything to counter.
Just hang back.
Yeah.
Yeah, make him attack.
I remember when you had Hickson on your podcast, and you had asked him, like, what do you do if you can't take a guy down? And he was telling you, I pull guard.
Yes.
But then he was telling you also, when I pull guard, I have to open the guard. And it was like, okay, well, the guy will just back out of your guard.
Yes.
If you pull guard on me, and you keep your guard closed, well, okay, we're on the ground. If you open your guard, I can just get up.
Yeah.
And it seemed like, and then you were like, okay, if he gets up, well, I got to pull guard again. But it was like a circular type of strategy.
We don't know with Hickson, right? Because we never did see him against the cream of the crop. You know, Funaki was the best fighter he fought. And Funaki was arguably towards the end of his career when he fought Hickson. And, you know, he did some damage, broke Hickson's orbital. Remember, he had that really fucked up swelling.
Did he hurt Hickson?
He hurt him, yeah. His eye was all fucked up and swollen after that fight.
I have to go rewatch it.
And he also fucked Hickson's knee up. Or Hickson fucked his knee up. No. Hickson fucked his knee up. I'm sorry. He was standing up over Hickson, and Hickson kicked his knee. Like, he extended his knee when Hickson was on his back. But, no, at the end of the fight, Hickson's eye... So go to Coliseum 2000, Hickson Gracie.
2000.
I had the honor of going to Hickson's house one night.
Really?
I had dinner with him. And Crone was a young kid, man. He was like 15, 16 years old. And then we went to Hickson's house, and then we watched fights. And Hickson was breaking down fights, breaking down what other guys were doing wrong, breaking down space, like he hated space, like when jiu-jitsu guys got people on the ground. And, you know, he was just talking about various positions and different things that were happening in the fights. And then we watched that fight. We watched the Funaki fight, which was his final fight. So this was Hickson basically, you know, in his prime. And back then, I mean, he was muscular too, man. Hickson was a big guy back then, well over
chiseled.
200 pounds.
Was he 200 pounds?
Yeah, he was about 200 pounds, but solid as a rock, man. And
his physique's incredible.
Yeah, and he fought. I mean, Funaki was a real world-class fighter. This was probably the guy who was the most dangerous guy that he fought. I mean, when he fought in Japan Valley Tudo, those guys just really had nothing for him. That one guy got him in a guillotine, remember, and held on to him for a long time, but he eventually got out of it and submitted him. That guy was a Japanese pro wrestler, right? But
that's what they had also at the time.
Yeah.
Like,
Takada.
Takada, yeah.
Yeah, remember, he was the first Pride, people forget, was Hickson Gracie. Hickson Gracie fought Takada in the first Pride. So eventually this fight goes to the ground. Scoot ahead real quick. Eventually, this fight goes to the ground, and Funaki landed a big shot. See, Hickson's eye was all fucked up. You could see it. Well, I don't know if you could see it there. No, you got to see it after the fight. After the fight, he gets him on the ground and he reverses position, and then he eventually chokes him completely to sleep. Back up a little
with
bit.
his eyes open.
It was pretty radical.
Yeah.
So here he is. He gets. See if you can see right before this. Go right before this, Jamie. Right before this, so you can see the setup. See, he's punching him. He's gift wrapping him. He's got his hand wrapped across his neck, punching him in the face. So he's got Funaki's hand across his own face, and he's punching him in the face. And then Funaki's forced to try to move to better his position, and Rickson eventually sneaks his body behind him. You see he's using his left knee and sliding, and now he turns him and he gets his back. Shitty camera work there. They should have showed that transition. But he got his back, and then when he chokes him out, Funaki's eyes are wide open and he's completely asleep. And Rickson gets off of him and kicks him aside. It's so nasty. Look, he gets him, and look, Funaki like kind of knew he was getting put to sleep too. So he's out cold, and Rickson just climbs off and kicks him off. Get off me. Get off me, bitch. But you see his eye, like when they if you see if there's a close up on him, Rickson's eye, like after the fight. Yeah, Rickson, not Funaki. After the fight, his eye was pretty fucked up. Right there, there you see it. See it?
I don't remember that.
Yeah, his left eye was completely swollen.
What did he get hit with? I don't remember him getting hit.
Punch.
Really. It was a punch?
I believe so. Yeah, I believe he got hit with a big punch from Funaki. You know, Rickson was never a guy who was trying to kickbox you. You know, he wasn't trying to do what his son did at all. Rickson was always just trying to figure out a way to be defensive, just enough to impose his game and get you on the ground.
All the black belts that ever work with Rickson, they always say the same thing. We got killed.
Yeah,
like world champion black belts. I go train with him. They go roll with him. Like, oh, he killed us all. He killed us all. There was, like 20 years ago, the Gracies used to get together like once every year, every 2 years to train. And Eric Paulson was invited, and he said in an article, I remember reading this article when I was really young, he was saying that, look, we don't say what happens in that practice. Obviously, it's a family thing, so I'm not going to be saying what happens. But one thing I can tell you all, nobody came near Rickson. Like, nobody could touch Rickson. Rickson was the, head and shoulders above everybody. And the reason why they could say that is because everybody admits to it, and it's like an open secret. Everybody knows Rickson's way better than everybody else. And just hearing those stories growing up, and you're like, man, this guy, how good is he? Can we see him actually fight? And then you have these clips where, look, it's one-sided, but that was a different time and place. But then again, that's if he was training today, he would probably be kickboxing too.
Yes, I'm sure.
I think he'd be crazy not to.
I'm sure.
Yeah.
But then also, he wouldn't. I mean, he hadn't had any fights in a cage.
No.
All of his fights were in the ring. In the ring,
cage.
there's a lot more you can do in terms of movement. You can slide through the ropes a little to avoid things. It's also harder to take someone down. There's a lot of weird things that happen inside of a ring. You could argue that a ring is better for the view because you could see straight through to the fighters, but it's also more dangerous because you can fall through the ring. The ropes, I mean, even in boxing, you occasionally see that. Where Bernard Hopkins' last fight, when he fought Joe Smith, he got KO'd by going through the rope, and he fell and hit his head.
Oh, my God.
He fell, like, right on his fucking head on the concrete floor at, like, 50 years old,
Oh, my God.
Yeah.
Yeah,
ropes
rings
are weird.
Yes. There's one guy who died in Thailand many years ago. He ran forward charging, and he did a kick, went over the guy's head, flew out of the ring, hit the table, and died.
Oh, Jesus
That's
Christ.
why in Thailand now you're not allowed to run anymore. If I catch a kick, I'm allowed 1 step forward, not 3 steps charging across the ring like they used to. Before you could run across the ring. So I catch your leg, I run across the ring, flying elbow, flying knee, whatever I want.
Wow.
Now it's like you're allowed 1 or 3 steps. I can't remember.
So it's like traveling in basketball.
Yeah, you can't just charge through because the ring can't contain.
Oh, that makes sense.
You could fly right through the ropes.
I like what Bellator did. What Bellator did for their kickboxing events, when they had kickboxing and MMA in the same weekend, they put the kickboxing ring inside that gigantic circular pad. So even if you fell through the ropes, you just landed on the outside pad, which is so much superior. It's so much better. I just, I feel like we haven't really found the perfect fighting surface.
No. I like our idea, the podcast, the elevator, the football field. You don't know. We spin a wheel, it might be in a moat.
Spin a wheel.
Now we know
idea.
if you really can adapt to anything.
Yeah, that's a great idea, right? You take a guy who's like a Mighty Mouse guy, who's like a phenomenal mover, and now he's got to fight in an elevator.
Yeah, exactly.
Now what happens? Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah, there's no. I mean, there's no. I see fights that happen overseas with like ONE FC allows fights in a cage, but with soccer kicks. And the argument against that, I think, would be that you can't get your head out of the way. Like if you're trapped up against the cage, like at least in Pride or in K1 when they had fought in the ring, if you're on the ground, you can move your head through the ropes. You've got a little bit of motion. But if your head is stuck and someone soccer kicks you or stomps you,
it's too dangerous, in my opinion. I think that's one maneuver. And look, we got to draw a line somewhere. You know, we have to decide what are we gonna do next? Poke each other in the eye?
Did you ever see Roger Huerta's KO when he got knocked out in ONE FC? It was brutal, man. He fought this really big guy from Brazil. He was fighting at 170. You know, Roger fought at 155 in the UFC.
Yeah, I trained Roger for a little bit.
Not the biggest guy in the world. No. And he fought this guy who was much bigger than him. And he got caught, he got hurt, and then when he went down, the guy soccer kicked him. And not just a soccer kick where he hits him he's already hurt. He hits him in the neck, and his whole body moves from the kick, where it's just like full power to the head, on the ground. And there's something about soccer kicks. It's just...
There's too much leverage there.
Yes.
Like if I ask you to break a baseball bat, you can do it if I hold it low.
Right.
If I hold it high, you better be an incredible kicker because you don't have as much leverage now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So if somebody falls down and I kick him in the head as he's down, I could really put him out. Like I could send him to the morgue even. Yeah. So I think it's one technique we have to be very careful about.
Yeah, because I think a wheel kick has more power, but it's so hard to land.
Exactly. Whereas a soccer kick's going to happen often.
Yes.
I remember watching Vanderlei, his first fight with Benson Henderson. Dan Henderson, excuse me. Mm-hmm. I thought it was that was just almost a murder. Like you see that fight, like stomping on him, just soccer. I was like, my goodness, what are they gonna do to stop this fight?
Well, that was the old days, man. The old days of Pride. And that was Vanderlei with like one eye completely swollen shut. Remember that? I mean, any reasonable organization would have stopped that fight. They would have looked at his eye like, you can't see a goddamn thing out of that.
They're too scared of it to stop the fight.
Oh well, that was Vanderlei when he was Vanderlei. You know, I mean. You want to talk about a guy whose face, just from sheer impacts, made his face changed, radically. Like it flattened out. Everything flattened. His nose flattened. Did you pull it up? Would you find the fight? Yeah, here it is. Boom. So that again. Watch this. So he's already hurt. Watch this. Boom. I mean, that is horrific.
I didn't see this one.
Oh, it's horrific, man. And he was hurt before that. He was getting beat up. He was getting beat up and kneed and punched. And look how much bigger that dude is. I mean, he's like really on Queer Street before he even goes to the ground. He gets ragdolled to the ground, and then look at this. Boom! I mean, horrific.
Yeah, tough.
Well, I mean, Brandon Vera's won fights like that in one as a heavyweight with soccer kicks too, which is even more scary.
He looked at the ref before kicking him.
Yeah, because they give you a clear or not clear. Because apparently sometimes you can head kick a guy on the ground, soccer kick him. Sometimes you can't.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, that should have been a no-go.
I would have. He should have stopped that fight. Yeah. I mean, it looked like he was just so badly hurt.
It's happening so fast.
It's so hard to tell too, because you got guys like Frankie Edgar when he fought Gray Maynard. He's like looks like he's out on the first round, and then he comes back and wins the fight.
Yeah. If it's a title fight, I understand they let it go a little further because that's a once in a lifetime opportunity.
Yes.
But if there's no title on the line, which I think that fight there wasn't,
right?
I would have stopped it after he fell down, like looking drunk, you know?
Yes. Yeah. Well, also you got to take into consideration the size difference. The fact that one guy's just pummeling him, and he's almost too tough for his own good. And Roger's not going to quit. He's just he's going to go out in a shield. But yeah, so soccer kicks, that's a tough one, right? What about soccer kicks in a football field? No, still no.
Rolling the wheel.
In that situation, if you're rolling the wheel, like in that situation, really it doesn't matter if that's a ring or a cage. That's just a soccer kick, and that's a horrific technique.
They're all dangerous. Yeah.
Yeah. That can end your life.
Yeah, exactly. That's why I would draw the line there. Like I want us to find a balance of rules that take away concussions as much as possible, because some guys are too tough for their own good, and then they're going to go out there and practice it.
Right.
So they're going to be like, oh, we should soccer kick each other in practice. It's not just that fight night. You know, they're going to do it in practice.
Right, of course. Yeah, well, wheel kicks. I mean, I remember in Taekwondo training, even guys would try to pull a kick. They'd walk into that and you'd accidentally hit them, and people would go to sleep. But all the time. It's just there's too much power in the leg. There's too much weight, and the leverage of a... You remember when Edson Barboza fought Terry Edom,
Yes.
which was the first ever wheel kick KO.
Was it the first one?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. First ever KO in Brazil.
Yeah.
And he connected with that wheel kick, and Terry went stiff like someone just pulled the power cord and just fell back.
Yeah.
And it was a crazy fight because like Terry really didn't have anything for him. And I was just saying that he's going to have to risk getting knocked out in order to do something. He's going to have to, and right when I said risk getting knocked out, whack, he landed that crazy wheel kick. But that's one of those kicks where you go, okay, should that even be legal? Of course, I think it should be legal.
Yeah, I think it.
You know, it's a beautiful technique, but man, that's a horrible thing to get hit with. It's just hard to do.
It's probably, I mean, it's among the most powerful kicks in the game.
Mm-hmm.
Like, there's no doubt.
For sure.
But it's not easy to execute. That's why most people don't do it.
Yeah, there's not a lot of guys that can throw it with the kind of speed and precision that also have real MMA skills. That's what it is.
Exactly.
Yeah. I mean, Wonder Boy being one of the examples. Remember when he fought Jake Ellenberger and he hit him with a wheel kick? And that was a crazy fight because Ellenberger was talking shit saying that those things don't work. All that spinning stuff doesn't work. And then, of course, that's what he hit him with.
It can work if you know how to stay standing.
Well, it's also like, say whatever you want. That's Wonder Boy, okay? That's not a regular dude you're fighting. You might say spinning shit doesn't work. Well, if it's, Mike McFuckstick from, Chicago who's never really taken martial arts classes like that and doesn't have a background in karate.
Yeah.
But Wonder Boy can do some wild shit with his legs.
He's not 67-0 in kickboxing for nothing. They didn't
crazy
give him
record.
those 67 wins.
That's a
They weren't
record.
bought. They weren't purchased.
Yeah.
He had
you
to
could
go out.
watch them.
Yeah.
You could watch the fights. They're
Exactly.
online.
Yeah. I think sometimes the guys say things like that just to pump themselves up because they're scared, they're worried,
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
You know.
It's interesting that we're starting to see the level of female MMA really elevate now. And like of course Amanda Nunes who fights in December, right? She's fighting, which is a really good fight, man, that a lot of people aren't talking about. Jermaine Durandamy is a beast. She's really good, man. Super, super technical. She beat a man. She
fought a man, right? Yeah, she did fight a man.
Yeah. She fought a guy and beat him. I think she stopped him. I think she KO'd him.
Wouldn't surprise me.
I wouldn't surprise me either, man. She's super, super technical.
Yeah.
Yeah, but Amanda and Valentina Shevchenko, they represent the highest level right now. And Weili Zhang, right? As you say, Zhang Weili. After when she won the title like that, I was like, holy shit. Like, that's another one. I mean, and that woman being from China, where martial arts is so gigantic over there and representing like that, woo!
She must be a megastar there now.
Oh, my God.
She must be a megastar.
Oh, my God. And to win that way with such a spectacular knockout like that.
Wow.
Yeah.
And there's a shortage of women. And not only is there a shortage of women, she's a champion, world champion.
I know, right?
In UFC. And she knocks people out. She's got to be like ultra star there.
Oh, she's got to be gigantic too. Yeah. Just gigantic. Huge star.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, and then, as the UFC is making its way through China, to have someone like that as their champion. Oh, my God.
I heard they build a PI there 3 times bigger than the one in Vegas.
Yeah, it's huge. Yeah.
I haven't seen it, but...
I've seen it online. The only one I've seen in person is the one here. But fuck. It's so impressive, the one in Vegas. All the different state-of-the-art techniques for recovery and even those little pods you take naps in.
That I haven't seen. Have that?
If I lived in Vegas, man, that would be the spot. If you're a fighter and you were living in Vegas, that's the spot to train.
Yeah. I've been there a few times. They're really good.
Yeah. Listen, man, Kevin Lee coming up to you worked out.
Thank you, by the way.
My pleasure.
I appreciate it.
I knew it.
You set us up together.
I knew it, though. When I was talking to him, I knew he was like a little bit lost and trying to figure out his way. And I said, man, you need a head coach. And I'm like, who fights like you? George St. Pierre. I mean, not saying he's the same level as George, but George fights like that with wrestling and great striking and submissions. He mixes it all up. He's unpredictable in his attacks. I'm like, they're very similar. Neither one of them are particularly long. Both guys are very physically strong. I'm like, come on, man. Like this is the guy.
He has a great training team already. He just doesn't have somebody kind of put it all together.
Yes.
And we're talking about styles and level. He's a bit of his personality. He's a wildcat. Like he's a commando. And me, I'm the opposite. I'm like calculated. I'm a scalpel.
Yeah.
He's a chainsaw. Together it makes a great blend. Because you need both.
A little bit of discipline, a little bit of wildness.
Yes.
Yeah.
There's a time and place for both.
Yes.
So like his last fight, I was happy he stayed disciplined.
Very so.
Very
Very much
disciplined.
so. Very much so.
And he could become a world champion if he's disciplined. Because George was very disciplined.
Yes.
He didn't veer off the game plan at all. And he got the job done. I mean, the KOs.
I also told him all that shit that he does where he's moving up to the cage and he's dancing around and going crazy. I'm like, abandon that shit. I go, come out like a fucking samurai, man. You got some serious work to do. All that stuff is complicating your mind. Because then you have to think, oh, well, all I did, if I lose right now, I'm going to look stupid with all that dancing. And there's all this pretending that you're not feeling the feeling that you're feeling right now. You're feeling this incredible moment because 6 months of preparation, getting ready for this one moment. Here it is. Embrace what that is. Go zen, man. Be empty.
And he was like that the whole training camp. Like he was very focused for this one.
You could tell.
Yes. And I was really happy because I like guys who come in the gym and work. They don't skip practice. And like if guys tell me, oh, I'm not in today for whatever reason, I'll let them, okay, you don't want to be in, you don't want to be in. Like I'll tell them, look, I think you should be in, but you don't want to come in. What can I do?
Right.
But he was very disciplined. He came to all the practices and it worked out beautifully. Like exactly.
How old is he now?
Maybe late 20s now. I'm not even sure.
I think I want to say he's 26.
Mid 20s.
How old is Kevin
Mid-20s.
Lee? 27?
27.
What's his birthday? September. Okay, so he
Right.
just turned 27.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's fucking not even in his prime, you know? And he's also experienced failure and experienced fights where he didn't live up to his potential. And I think that ultimately will be a motivating force because we see what he can do when he's really focused. That Gregor Gillespie is a dangerous fight, man. You know, I mean, people see that spectacular head kick knockout and they don't understand how good Gregor Gillespie is. That kid is a savage. And so when I found out that Kevin was going to fight Gregor in his fight back to 155.
Not a good comeback fight.
Dangerous comeback fight.
Yeah, very high risk comeback.
Very high risk. And also getting down to 155. What did you guys do differently to get him down to 155 easily this time?
We kind of put our heads together. You know, Dewey Cooper, his trainer, is really great.
Fantastic kickboxer.
Amazing.
Yeah.
I love working with him. Brilliant guy. His brother Keith, we kind of like got our heads together and we're like, look, we got to keep losing weight at this rate, no matter what it takes. And if he protests, like, you know, if he wants to like ease up, we'll listen to it. But he's gotta bite the bullet at one point. Like we can't fall behind this rate of losing weight. We have to lose on a pound an hour. Every hour we have to lose 1 pound. And like at a certain point, now it's a pound an hour.
You talking about for the weight cut?
Weight cut, yeah, weight cut.
Right, but what is he coming in at? Like, what is like when he the week of the fight on Monday morning? What is he weighing in at? You got it on your phone?
Yeah, I have it here. So
he looked a little smaller, but healthy. He didn't look sucked in. He didn't look like he depleted himself. Did he do anything different in terms of like weightlifting or running, extra running?
I wouldn't lift weights if I was him. I don't want him to lift any weights because he's naturally like I like bulking and then cutting. I don't like cutting. But when he came to me, it was 6 weeks before, so we were in a cutting phase. Like I don't want him to bulk up because in 6 weeks you can't bulk and then cut. He's already very naturally muscular. He's very naturally strong, naturally already. So I had him doing road work, not too much plyometric, not like a little bit. But I don't want to put any size on him because he's got enough size.
Right.
So first thing is evaluation. Does he need muscle? No, he's plenty of muscle.
Right.
Does he need power? Plenty of power. We need to create endurance and discipline in him. That's what I think was making the big difference. And some technical issues. And we cut the 24 hours before, he was 174. 174. So 20 pounds.
That's a lot.
It's a lot. So there was a point where we had to hit, after losing up the preliminary weight, we have to hit 1 pound an hour. And he was good about it. And actually, it wasn't that hard of a weight cut. He did it really well. We're very disciplined. I was with him the last 48 hours, making sure he was doing everything, the last few steps really well. The rehydration process, I was with him the whole time.
What did he wake up at Friday morning?
Friday morning, I'll tell you right now, it's not great. I mean, okay, so 1 o'clock in the morning, he was 164.
Oh.
1 o'clock in the morning.
9 pounds to go.
5 o'clock in the morning, he was 163. That's when we start. So I let him sleep for a couple hours, 4 hours. 4 hours of sleep, wake up.
So you woke him up at 5?
Yeah.
The day of the weigh-ins?
The day of the weigh-in.
Wow.
Wake up.
Wake up.
Wake up. Time to make weight. At 10 o'clock, he was 155.
Oh, wow. So he went through from 5 a.m. all the way to 10.
Yes.
And what is he doing during that time?
Bath, and then wrap him up in the towels. Let him sweat in the towels.
Jesus Christ.
And then...
No sauna?
No sauna for this one.
How come?
Some guys prefer bath. It's direct heat.
What do you like?
I like both. I think I tell guys, if you're not used to the sauna, let's do bath. Like I always tell guys, before your fight, go once a week to the sauna, like 6 weeks out. Because sauna takes practice. Some people sit in the sauna for 45 minutes and it's nothing. Like they have sauna world championships. I don't know if you know that, but like in like Finland, they have the world championships of sauna. Like some people stay in there for hours. Like you build a tolerance.
Is it for time or for temperature?
I think it's time.
You know Laird Hamilton, the guy who makes this amazing coffee?
This one, the turmeric?
Yeah.
I love it.
Turmeric coffee is incredible. Laird is a world champion surfer. He's a stud. I mean, he's fucking Aquaman. He's an animal. But this guy gets in the sauna, cranks it up to 220 degrees, and rides an air bike. So he's got like one of those Airdyne bikes.
Why? He's
a fucking animal, man. He's wearing oven mitts. Because the bar is so hot from being in the sauna, you can't grip it with your hands. So he's in there like on one of them Rogue Echo bikes, and he's just fucking burn it out. He's a maniac, man. But he does all kinds of crazy shit, like, you know, especially like hot sauna work, and then jumping in. What do you got, Jamie? What's up?
This is not the last one, but the most famous one. They were at 230 degrees Fahrenheit, which is 110 Celsius.
Oh my God.
And at 6 minutes, I think the guy on the left in this picture passed out and ended up dying.
No.
He died?
Yeah.
I cooked my steak at 110 Celsius.
Jesus. Holy shit.
It's incredible, huh? Oh, no.
Oh my God. Yeah. Russian competitor dies in sauna world championship. Yeah, fuck that.
How long were they in there?
6 minutes or so, I think is what it said.
6 minutes?
He lasted for 6 minutes and they took him out.
Oh, so it's a temperature
60-year-old, over 60.
Oh my God. Look how red he is,
ridiculous. Man. I cooked my steak at 110, no joke. This is inhuman.
110 Celsius is what Fahrenheit?
230.
230.
Very dangerous.
Yeah, I was doing 220. Yeah, he had me doing 220 for a little bit, but you know what? I felt like it was burning my lungs. I felt like it was burning the inside of my mouth.
Was it dry?
Yeah, I felt terrible. I stopped doing it. I did it a few times, but afterwards I'd lay down after I did it, and I was doing it for fucking like 15, 20 minutes too.
What was the purpose?
Smart. Me? I wanted to experiment.
But why does he do it?
Dude, first of all, he's built different. That guy has an ankle that's like 3 of these Yeti cooler mugs because he broke it and just kept working out on it after he broke it. So it's all calcified. He pulled it up, put it up on the table. I was like, what the fuck, man? He just broke his ankle and just kept working out and kept doing stuff on it. And then it just sort of fused together. And this, like, look at his ankle.
Ooh.
Look at that.
Oh, my God.
That's his ankle, man. And that's just from breaking and never stopping to do anything with it. Yeah, it's like the root of a tree. It's real weird, man. Eesh. He's a crazy person, but he's also, you know, like one of the greatest surfers that ever lived. And I think sometimes you have to be that to be that.
They're all crazy.
Yeah, everybody's the best of their game.
They're all crazy.
They're all crazy, no matter what you do.
They're all. There's a touch of genius and there's a touch of madness.
I say that madness and genius are next door neighbors and they borrow each other's sugar.
This is true.
Because it's like they're next door neighbors. It's almost you have to be like literally fucking up almost every other part of your life to achieve real greatness.
Yeah.
Because you gotta abandon personal relationships. You gotta be totally unbalanced, completely obsessed and focused upon your goal.
This is true.
But the beautiful thing for a fighter is fighters can do that in camp and then break. And then take a little break.
Not too much, though.
Not too much.
Not too much space. There's not too much space.
How much time do you, like, after a fighter like Kevin wins, how much time do you recommend to just fuck off?
I think 2 weeks is good.
2 weeks of fucking off.
Yeah, just go chill for 2 weeks. But I feel like everybody wants to take a month and 6 weeks. I think that's too much. There's too much to learn in MMA. There's too much.
Right.
You know one position that can win you the fight. So in that 6 weeks, how many positions did you miss out on that you don't know about? There's so many positions. There's so many scenarios to go over.
Yeah.
There's too much material to cover.
You know, I know this is only his first victory back at 155 pounds, but he said something, and I believe him. He thinks he has the style to beat Khabib. He thinks Khabib's style, which is so wrestling heavy, but not really kick heavy, you know, and Kevin throws some nasty kicks. He missed Gregor with a crazy head kick before he landed the one that put him out. I was like, woo! Like whizzing by the top of his head.
Yeah.
Speed, too.
Speed, explosion.
Yeah.
It just needs to be, and he controlled the center beautifully. He got hit. He stayed disciplined. He didn't freak out.
Right.
He didn't start brawling, you know.
He just needs more of these sort of fights, more experience with a guy like you in his corner.
More grooming.
Is he going to move to Montreal, or is he going to stay down in Vegas?
I'm not sure. Actually, he told me he's going to be back in January, so we'll get back to him.
I told him to move.
Yeah, he should move for a while.
Yeah. I'm like, first of all, Vegas, as great as it is, the nightlife is always like, Kevin, come party. Like, you try to do the right thing. But in Montreal, it's different. First of all, that winter teaches you something about life. That winter up there. I remember my first December in Montreal was like 1992. I did the Montreal Comedy Festival.
Yeah.
And I was up there in the winter. I was like, oh. And I grew up in Boston. I thought I knew what a winter was.
It's something.
The air. It hurts. It hurts. It hurts your lungs when you breathe it in. You realize you could die out here. You know, you only have a certain amount of time to get to where you need to go, and if you're walking. Yeah. I think it was 93 now that I think about it. But that you guys are a good solid 10 to 15 degrees colder than Boston. And I just thought that was just
and
ridiculous.
we're near the water, too.
Yes.
So when the wind chill.
Yes. And it's the moisture, that cold air. Woo! The wind chill factor, that cold, wet air. But it's just, there's something also, I think, about cold weather people, like people that live in cold weather, and there's more resilience. I think it's a character builder. I really do. I mean, I've often thought I don't want to move to a cold weather area, but if I did, it'd probably be good for me.
It's actually beautiful winter. I find winter beautiful. Like, I don't know what it is about it, but it's a special time of the year. And then when summer comes, it's like summer's like the most incredible thing you've ever lived because you just went through winter.
Yes.
So the summer is just like a... It's
right
like
here,
every year you get hit with that.
We're like weather trust fund babies out here. We're just so used to everything being perfect. It's fine. And if it rains at all, we're like, oh my God, the world's over. It's raining.
Yeah. No, when you go through a brutal winter and then it breaks, it's like, I don't know how to explain it.
I
don't know how to explain it.
Yeah. Well, it's the passing of the seasons is also symbolic of life, the cycle of life. There's a real cycle to this. And you only have a certain number of those fall, winter, spring, summer events. I mean, there's not that many of them, man.
You hear the howling wind of the freezing cold, and you're in your home, and you have to. And it's like when I come home and I see my house buried in snow. Yeah, I love it. I take pictures of it.
Do you?
Yeah, because I don't know what it is about it, but when you get inside, it's like
I kind of miss it. I miss it now. Yeah, Denver. Shout out to Denver. They're fucking frozen in right now. all the highways are getting shut down right now as we speak. Giant storm just hit. Oh. Yeah, I think it makes better people. I think it also makes people that appreciate nature because in California we don't even know what the fuck nature is. We don't. I mean, you do if you go outside. You're like, oh, trees, but we don't know the force of it. You know, because we're so immune to it out here. Essentially,
you're nothing to nature. Like you're
nothing.
You're a speck of dust.
It doesn't care. Yeah, it'll freeze you out.
Yeah, it's rough.
Well, it's also that another good choice about moving to Montreal is you've accumulated a culture up there at Tristar, and that is as important to success as almost anything, is to go into an environment and feeling the culture of that environment and knowing like this is a place where real assassins go to train. This is a real world-class facility with some of the best competitors on earth are going to hone their edge. And this is where they go.
This is the place you check your ego at the door. Everybody's the same. It's all about improvement, excellence. There's only one question. What are we doing today is whatever's going to make us better, period. There's no, this guy's in the practice room, we got to cater to his needs and we got to move things around. No, there's none of that. Like I've had some big stars come in, and I tell them, look, you can come in with your entourage, but you have to do it this way, and you have to come in and do the workout like this, and you have to be like everybody else. Oh yes, if it's a no, you can't come in. That's it. Just don't come in. Like I can't stop the world for a guy, to massage his ego.
Right.
That's why I like Kevin, and he was very humble, and he works with everybody, and he's a great fit.
He's a great guy.
He's a great human being. Great.
He's got potential outside of the sport too. He's a fun guy. He's an interesting personality, and not even just outside of the sport. Meaning after he's done. I mean, if he does make big strides in the sport and becomes a champion, he could transcend. I mean, he really can. He has that kind of personality. It's just a matter of doing what he did for that Gregor Gillespie fight over and over and over again. Yeah. And that is maddening.
Especially if he fights Khabib, or when he fights Khabib.
Yeah. You think he's going to fight Khabib?
I think so.
Khabib said he's only going to fight a couple more times, and I think he wants to fight George.
That would be great. 165.
Can George make that?
Yeah, 165. Yeah, I think so. Yeah,
and Khabib, it would probably be nice for him to.
Yeah, but do we need a title on the line? I don't think we need a title on the line. Or do we do super lightweightweight?
Bad motherfucker of the North.
Whatever they want. Whatever they want.
BMF-ON.
Whatever. Okay, whatever you want.
I mean, look at the Masvidal Diaz fight.
I love that thing.
I love it.
You could do anything you want with a title.
Yeah, and you can make one.
You could put Tony Ferguson, Masvidal, 165 BMF.
Yeah,
you have control of everything now.
Right. The BMF thing is interesting.
Very smart.
Yeah.
It's not going to go away.
And no one complained.
I loved it.
No one was like, what is this? No.
We all watched. That's why I tell people, the people who are bad-mouthing it, I'm like, you're still going to watch. Yeah. You want to see it. That's the whole point.
It's fun.
Whenever
a belt says bad motherfucker on it, we're living in a good time. I was just happy to see that fight. And I'm happy to see George get the shine that he deserves, and I'm happy to see Nate get the shine that he deserves. So for me, the title was great, nice, fantastic, whatever. 5-round fight with two of the very best 170 pounders in the world. That's what was intriguing to me. And whether or not Diaz could handle the overall skill set of Masvidal, because his skill set's so comprehensive. The wrestling is excellent. His creativity, his instincts, his killer instincts, his knockout power, the fact that he's a great kicker as well as a great puncher. Like, people forget, he knocked out Eve Edwards with a head kick in Bodog back when Eve was a fucking man. And back when Eve was arguably the best 155-pounder in the world.
And the body punch.
Yes.
You don't see that often.
Oh, man. He
body
throws
shot,
everything. Yeah.
That body shot. That's a lost art of body punching, because a lot of people punch kind of like this, but is an uppercut to the body. That was driving through. And you could tell it hurt Diaz. Diaz changed side.
Yep.
But he had kicked him there before. It was brilliant strike, like really beautiful shot selection.
Yeah.
I mean.
He's got one of the highest fight IQs in the sport. Yeah. And he doesn't have any weaknesses. Like, he doesn't have a weak chin. He takes a tremendous shot. His heart is incredible. Now that he's in far better shape than he's ever been any other time in his career. He's more disciplined. I mean, I'm very excited about him right now, because from his resurgence, from the knockouts that, knocking out Cowboy Cerrone, knocking out Darren Till, the knockout of Askren, which is just like fucking insane, man. Insane.
Oof, that one was
insane. And then just really putting it on Diaz. It showed you how fucking tough Nate Diaz is. God damn.
Oh, my God.
So tough.
But could he beat an Usman or Colby?
That's a good question. It's a real good question.
I think if he had a lot of rounds to do it, or let's say there was no rounds, I would pick him.
Really?
Masvidal. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, because he could finish.
Yeah.
But the problem is he could also get out wrestled. They eat up the rounds, they eat up the time. But I don't see them finishing them, Masvidal. But I could see Masvidal turning it around later on and finishing, because he's a great finisher.
Yes. Well, Usman could crack. We saw that in the Woodley fight. He's won by knockout before. He's got legitimate power.
One knockout?
But you see it when he landed. I mean, he's got at least one knockout.
Yeah, I think one.
But you see he's got that kind of power.
He does.
When he hurt Tyron. I mean, Tyron takes a good shot, and he had Tyron in real bad trouble.
Yes.
He's dangerous with his strikes. Colby is a guy who's very wise in his choice. He's, to me, one of the most intriguing characters in the sport, because he gets you tricked into thinking that he's a bum. Because he's got the fucking Donald Trump Jr. book, and he has a cheap suit on and a MAGA hat and the old belt. But meanwhile, that motherfucker puts it on you, and he doesn't get tired. And he's got this brilliant strategy of everything he throws, very Nick Diaz-like, 50, 60%. He's not throwing haymakers, 50, 60%. Just keeps it on you, keeps it on you, keeps it on you, keeps it on you, keeps it on you. And you keep thinking you're going to get this break where you're going to be able to fire back, like Robbie Lawler. He kept trying to find an opening to fire back. Those openings aren't coming.
541 strikes against Robbie.
No, people don't understand how insane that is.
Go hit the bag 500 times. Go like your next workout.
Yeah,
just hit the bag 500. It's
just
tough.
get someone to stand there with a clicker.
Yeah, just click and throw 541.
And don't
shots.
even throw it full blast.
No,
just throw it 50%.
Plus, he's wrestling. How many takedown scrambles? How many?
Oh my god! His endurance is incredible.
It's.
And you know, he created that character because he thought the UFC was going to cut him.
Right.
He was fighting in Brazil. They told him it was basically his last fight. And
really?
Yeah, man, they were ready to get rid of him. They thought his style was fucking boring. Like the UFC is. Jamie, we got a little issue here with this thing is falling down. Oh, it tightens up there.
I got you.
All
right.
They were basically ready to cut him, and so he said, "You know what? I'm just gonna fucking go for broke. I'm gonna call these Brazilians a bunch of shitty names." He called them dirty animals and all this crazy shit, and he basically just created this pro wrestling heel persona. Have you ever talked to him real life?
No.
Very nice guy.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Very smart guy.
I'm very sure.
Like,
I'm sure of it.
Really friendly, like real nice to talk to. He's not that guy. He's he needs a goddamn Academy Award. It's crazy because everybody hates him. They think he's a piece of shit. He's there posing with Trump and everything. Like it's fucking.
He's giving
funny,
them what they want.
He's giving them what they want.
And when the fans don't want that no more, he won't give it to them.
But he can also fight his ass off, which is what's so crazy. It's like people get twisted. They get it twisted in their head that he can't really fight.
Listen, he beat Robbie Lawler.
He beat him bad. Like he dominated him.
That's a big win. That's a massive win.
Rafael dos Anjos, same thing. Beat the shit out of him.
That's a colossal win.
He just keeps it on you. He doesn't give you any air. There's no air. No one gets air.
And he could take a shot.
He's
fearless.
He's got everything going for him. If he was just a high-level contender, you'd be like, fuck, keep an eye on that guy. Something special about him. But all this craziness that he does has got everybody confused with the MAGA hat. That suit costs $3. He's got a $3 blue suit on. The whole thing is so nuts. I mean, he's a fucking character, man.
It's incredible.
It's really smart.
And he really gets a rise out of people because people would try to fight him outside the ring. And like,
oh, my God.
Nuts.
Yeah, I mean, he's talked
Even
so much
Masvidal.
shit. Oh, yeah. Well, Masvidal's friends with him, too.
Yeah, but Masvidal wants to kill him now.
But does he?
I don't know.
They might both be in on that.
Could be, yeah.
I don't give
you're
a
right,
fuck.
You're right.
Let them talk.
Yeah, you're right.
Pro wrestlers like each other, and they still throw each other through tables.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
I'm interested to see that fight, too.
He got Trump to come to the fights, man.
Yes!
Dude, Donald Trump came to I almost missed the Kevin Lee fight.
Really? Yeah. Because of all the security?
I went to the green room to get a coffee and a little bite to eat. And then they're like, this area is closed. I'm like, okay, I just got to, no, sir, you can't move around. I'm like, okay. The whole building, the whole section here is locked down.
Yeah.
I'm like, for how long? We don't know. So Secret Service now. They're like, we don't know. Well, I got to contact UFC. We don't care about UFC. Well, I'm like, who talks to UFC? Who from UFC is talking to Secret Service? We don't care. We don't know.
Yeah, I had to wait a whole hour and a half before I could leave.
Really?
Yeah, everything was locked down. They had to wait till Trump's entourage or whatever.
Us too. We got
all the bulletproof fucking tanks that take him through the city.
Dude, I almost missed a fight. One fight goes by, two fight goes. Five fights have gone by. I'm like, guys, like we don't care. It
was hard to get in. It was hard to get in. Yeah, the whole thing was locked down. We had to go in through a different entrance. We had to get everything checked. They had to check my fanny pack.
Did you get the dogs?
Yeah, the dogs checked the truck. The dogs had to walk around the truck and sniff the truck.
Did you see the soldiers? How geared up they were?
Yeah, they were ready to rock, man. Yeah, goggles and
night
shit.
vision, machine guns, all over the place. Crazy.
Well, you got to think. I mean, if someone was a terrorist, they wanted to create a gigantic thing. You'd kill Trump at the UFC. Like,
I was shocked he's in the stands. So he's in the crowd. I thought he was going to be up in a booth.
Right. No, he was right on the goddamn floor.
Wow, that's pretty dangerous.
He was right there. Yeah,
the fans are there. No.
Yeah. It was funny too, man, because everybody was like torn over whether or not he got booed or cheered.
Did he?
Like, he got booed.
I didn't hear it. I was in the back.
Bro, I took my headphones off. I was like, boo!
Why, they put him on the big screen?
Yeah, but here's the thing. If you're standing, or if you're seated in a place where there was Trump fans, you heard cheers. You heard a lot of fucking noise, for sure. But there's a difference, right? Okay, like say if he, like there's certain people that walk in and you hear cheers, right? Like if Deontay Wilder was there, the place would go ape shit, right? They go, yeah! That's a cheer. Yeah. When Trump was there, like,
that's a boo.
But there was cheers mixed in with the boos. Tony Hinchcliffe had a good point. He's like, well, if you were sitting in the cheap seats where the people were Trump fans, you'd hear a lot of cheers. It's entirely dependent upon who's around you and whether or not they're supporting him or not supporting him. But the idea that they all cheered him, that's fucking nonsense. There was a lot of booing. But also just a lot of craziness. Like, holy shit, the president of the United States is here for the UFC. He's here for Masvidal versus Diaz.
Yeah. That's nuts, man. For the BMF title.
I don't know if he's even a fan. I mean, I don't know if he really enjoys the fights.
Who's not a fan of fighting?
I wonder if he's going to come to Vegas for Colby's fight. Imagine if he's like Colby's little fucking dog who follows him to all the fights. He's like his number one fan. Well, he definitely doesn't have the time to tweet. He's doing that shit all day long.
That's true.
I mean, all he needs is one Saturday. Come on, President.
He's the world's most powerful man.
I know.
I'm sure he probably has something that day, and he's going to move it around.
Hilarious if he made it to look at that. Him with Colby. I can't. Colby, I'd like to get him in here, but I don't know if he would break character. I don't know if he'd break character, or if he would stick to who he's. But like I'm telling you, I hung out with him at the Comedy Store and I talked to him. He's a fucking good guy, man. I'm
sure he is.
They think he's this character.
I'm sure they all are. They're all good guys. They're all good
a lot
guys.
of them.
A lot of. There's a few. There's always a few, but most of them are good.
This is a thing I was just getting into with a friend of mine. We were talking about people and their motivation for getting into fights, and I was like, or for getting into fighting, and I was like, some of it is not good, man. Some of the motivation, it's just. But what happens once you become a fighter? Like you can sort of transcend what your initial motivation was. Like a lot of people, they got motivated into fighting because of abuse. They were picked on, they were bullied, or maybe even abuse at home, or a father beat them or something like that, and then they became this angry, mean person, wanted to get back at the world. But through martial arts, you can transcend that and find peace. And this is something that I think it needs to be discussed more. It needs to be talked more, because people don't hear it too much from the fighter's perspective, because fighters don't really express these ideas that much. They just try to win and kick ass and do their best. But you can find peace through combat. You really can. You can find a better version of yourself by getting through things that are even more difficult than the childhood that you went through.
And you're going to eat a lot of humble pie.
Yeah.
Especially when you start.
Yes.
And it's a bitter taste.
Yes.
I always tell people, you think George St. Pierre didn't get killed in practice when he was a white belt? You think he started black belt? No.
Right.
Like everybody, he got killed. We all got killed on our way to black belt. Yes. Now you see a black belt, he rarely ever gets put in a bad position. But what you think he started like this? He's suffering. But, you ever hear of Learberg? Learberg, he's the world's greatest dog trainer.
Oh, yeah? A dog trainer?
Dog trainer, yeah. You know Shitzen?
Yeah.
He's one of the legends. I don't know if he's still relevant today, but when I was a kid, my older brother was obsessed with dogs and he used to watch Learberg's videos.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he has a library of videos of how to train a dog. The first thing he does, he tells you how to pick a dog from the litter. And he says he walks up to the litter and he takes each puppy and he pinches the puppy till the puppy cries. So the puppy will whimper, like he'll cry. And then he tries to make up with the puppy. If the puppy makes up with him, and then when he walks off, the puppy follows him, he's like, that's a good dog. I can train that dog. If the dog doesn't make up with him and is bitter about the experience, and he's walking away from Learberg, he won't pick that dog. That dog, when I'm going to train him later, he's going to be so bitter from the corrections I'm going to give him, and I'm going to have to, training him, I have to polish his dog. He's going to become so bitter. His attitude, his character is no good. Like, attitude is the most important thing. Attitude is the first. And I feel like the new generation today, they're like this, they're harder to train than the last generation. Because,
really?
Yes, because they're more proud. They're more proud. Like they're always trying to make a reason why they're not doing well, as opposed to saying, look, I need to get better. They kind of find excuses for what went wrong.
What do you think is the cause of that?
I think it's, because I think we have a privileged life. The first generation of any pioneers of any country, they always have nothing. They claw their way to the top. Socrates used to talk about this. The first generation claws their way to the top. The second generation saw that hard work. So you came in here, you had nothing, you could barely put food on the table, but you did everything to make it. Your kid saw that. He saw how food got on the table. But you're handing him down all these resources, a business, inheritance, education. Like, for instance, my parents pushed me to be educated. My parents are not educated people. But when they came to Canada, they pushed me to become educated. And now, with your education, these new assets, this new business, you're ahead. The third generation is where generally things go wrong, because now they're getting things, but they didn't see how it was made. They're just, I have this iPhone, but I didn't see how they built this empire. It's not necessarily 3 generations. It could be more, obviously. This is just like in a nutshell. But there's one generation, they just got stuff, but they didn't go out in the wild to go get it. Yeah. And those are the ones who are going to tell you, hey, you sinned with that food on the table. You kill that animal, you put them on the table. Right. What a sin on you, shame on you. But you're like, hey, you ate from this table. This whole world we built, it was from, this manner, So that generation, they don't know what it takes to survive. Like, for instance, my kids, I don't give them anything unless they earn it. I feel like if I give my son something for free, I cripple them psychologically. Take a tiger from the zoo and take a tiger from the wild. Is it the same animal? One of them can hunt and kill. The other one can't do nothing. The one from the zoo, you took something from him. What did you take? His instinct to survive, to fend for himself. Once I feed you, I weaken you. If I feed you, I made you weak. Me, I teach you how to hunt. I have to teach my son how to hunt. So one day, I tell my kids, what are you going to do when I'm dead? What are you going to do when I'm dead? Who's going to feed you? Who's going to take care of you? Like, think about these things, like, I like them to earn. Because if you give somebody a lot of nice things, they become very egotistical. And I'll tell you why. Because they're so insecure. You could tell an insecure martial artist from a secure martial artist. The insecure martial artist doesn't want to roll with this person, doesn't want to train here. He's very selective how he like, he's so, and it's because like he doesn't want to eat humble pie. You could tell. That's what happened. How much of that we have in martial arts? We have tons of that. Guys with super black belts but never fought. They never trained. Nobody ever saw them in action. So I feel like that's what happens at one point. Success breeds, what Nietzsche calls the last man. You're a fat cat on a pillow. You fight so hard to give your kids a great life, but that great life kind of ruins them. It could also ruin them. So I feel like this generation of martial artists, not the hardcore guys in UFC, not them, but I'm talking about the everyday guy coming in. It's because now in jiu-jitsu, you have clubs giving away belts with membership.
What?
Yeah, so if you show up, we count how many times you come to practice, and then you have a stripe every so often. It's all scheduled. We tell you when you're going to get your purple belt. It's already.
Wow, wait a minute. What?
Yeah, there's clubs now.
Who the fuck is doing that?
I don't want to say because.
You don't have to say, but that's real. Yeah. So they give you a certain number. So if you train for 50 days, you get a stripe. You train for another 50 days.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes, it already started. It happened in karate.
Yeah.
In the 70s, people don't know this. Masoyama sent 3 black belt karate experts to Thailand to fight Thais. 3 Thais. 2 of the karate guys won.
Really?
Do that today. Today, not all karate schools, but most of them are watered down. Why? They start, karate's popular. Let's take out the sparring. Let's take out all the hard training and guarantee this guy a black belt in 4 years, 3 years. Whereas opposed to taking 10 years, the guy down the street is going to go out of business. Why? He's charging a fee to train you hard. And it's going to take you 10 years and you're going to have pain and suffering. Whereas this guy, your neighbor, your competitor down the street, he's giving it to you in 3 years and there's not much pain and suffering involved.
Yeah.
So you get the prestige of a black belt without the hard training. Oof. It's going to happen in jiu-jitsu now. You're going to see it's coming. It's already here. It's been here for a while.
But jiu-jitsu seems like one of the rare meritocracies in martial arts where if you don't spar, you don't tap people, you don't get a black belt.
I agree.
If you don't spar, you don't tap people, you don't make your way through. Thank God. But it's one of the rare ones because in karate, there's a lot of like bullshit sparring where they're touching each other. They
put all sorts of rules and the sparring now is like...
Yeah. So you never get really backed into a corner.
That's why it backfires a lot. A lot of those guys who went to those other kind of schools, they end up in other academies. Like they give up. I've had a purple belt come up to me and say, I want to give back my purple belt. I got a purple belt from a certain school. And he went to the basics course in my gym. Basics. He says, I want to start back basics.
White belt.
No. Yes. He was a purple belt.
Right. Went back to white belt.
Yeah. But when I roll with him, I was like, who the hell? Like, no, it's not his fault.
What do you think he was? Maybe a blue belt?
Blue belt.
Sort like a bear.
Yeah. No, a blue belt. The definition of blue belt, according to Elio Gracie, is you can beat a bigger, stronger opponent that's untrained. Okay. So blue belt's not a huge, like, mega step.
Right.
But purple belt is an advanced belt. You're advanced.
Yes.
Like, it's
you're almost a black belt. You just need to keep training.
That's the hardest belt to get. To go from
Purple
blue
belt?
to purple is the most painful transition, in my opinion. Because most people stop at blue.
For me, brown belt was the scariest.
Yeah.
Because I was like, fuck, I'm almost there. I was like, oh, man. I was a brown belt for like 8 years, though.
Good.
I just kept getting injured, too, though.
Yeah. That's okay. Take your time.
Yeah.
I always tell guys, I'd rather you be a purple belt that tops out black belts
Yes.
than be a black belt that's getting killed by blue belts.
Right.
You harm your student when you give him a belt he can't carry.
Yes.
You harm them. Why? Because, like you said, jiu-jitsu, people walk in from out of town, they jump into your class.
Oh, yeah.
And the blue belt's killing your brown belt. Mm-hmm. It's embarrassing for him.
Yes.
Leave him blue.
Yeah.
At least he's a blue belt getting beat by a blue belt.
Right.
Let him be what he is.
Yeah. All right. Yeah.
But they want to hook you. Oh, belt seminar. Oh, belt test. Now there's tests. We didn't do tests. I didn't do tests.
No.
John Danaher, if you say, hey, John, we're going to do the test, he's going to laugh at you.
Right.
You know? It's like,
Jean-Jacques didn't do any tests either.
No, there's no test.
Eddie Bravo didn't do any tests. I think there's also a situation where these people are realizing that, hey, if you have, X hundred students and they're paying $150 a month, you can get this amount of money.
The mathematics.
Yeah, they start doing the thing. They're doing the thing in their head, and they realize, like, look, I am only making X amount of money. I can make triple that if I just lighten up on people.
But you have to sell the jiu-jitsu.
You have to change the thing.
You didn't learn it like this.
Right.
You didn't train like this. Yes.
Well, jiu-jitsu is one of the rare martial arts where you go full blast, and you can tap. If you get caught in an armbar, even though the guy's not yanking on it past the point where it's going to snap, they're showing some control. They catch you in that armbar and they know they have it. You have to tap. You just go again. I mean, you can go right again.
You have an infinity of amount of lives.
If you wheel kick someone in the head, they're not going again for a long time.
Yeah.
Especially if you actually do it the way you would do it in a fight. It's just like that difference of striking training versus grappling training is one of the things that really separates jiu-jitsu from the other martial arts, is that you can learn in a real situation. So like if you're in a street fight with jiu-jitsu and you grab a hold of a guy, it's so normal. The guy's going full blast. Fucking everybody goes full blast.
Yeah.
Everybody goes full blast. But if you're in a street fight with someone, you've only been point sparring, and someone's swinging haymakers at you, like, yikes! You're scared because you're not accustomed to that, because the actual consequences of getting hit like that in training are so high that you don't do that.
It's very different.
It's very, very, very different. There's a lot of people that have black belts in karate that would get fucked up in a street fight by a guy who's quick, who can hit hard, who just knows how to just hit you. A mean person that's been in a lot of street fights and knows how to punch you in the face.
There's also real karate instructors out there that have real good karate students.
Oh, yeah.
But the vast majority of them are sold out. Because if they train the people for real, they'll lose their customer too.
I think it's the opposite in jiu-jitsu. I think most jiu-jitsu is legit. But I think most karate is not legit.
Yeah, it's not susceptible as much, jiu-jitsu, because you have to roll.
Right.
Or like eventually you couldn't have gotten to purple belt without rolling. But they have their ways, right? They have their ways. Like if they have a good a kid who's like, they know he's going to compete, they'll hold them back. If they have a guy who's a lawyer,
him,
they'll boost him up faster, And I understand that, it's not the same thing. A young kid who's competing and a guy who's older, and I get that, but there has to be still a purity to the game, They can't. I hope they don't try to water it out, because I think it's going to backfire in the end, because it has. Like, so many guys come from other schools to my gym, and they're like, "Oh, I don't want to tell you what belt I am." I'm like, "Really? What?" They're embarrassed to tell me what belt they are.
So is that a Canada thing, or is that happening all across the world?
I think it's happening around the world.
Fuck.
Yeah.
That's so disappointing to hear, because when I started in 96, it was grimy, man. It was fucking, no one was doing it. It was rough. And when you did it, you were getting, and it was a bunch of people that had seen the UFC and were like, holy shit. It was me. It was like, I realized that I was so vulnerable. Because I had these ideas. Well, I know how to kickbox. I know taekwondo. You know, I know how to handle myself. And then I do jiu-jitsu and just get mauled. I mean, just by people my size, just manhandling me.
I got killed my first day, and I loved it though.
Because you realize, like, wow, so much to learn.
What is that movie did?
Yeah.
What is this thing? I was so enthusiastic about. Like, I'm gonna get to see. Am I gonna get to try? And they would show me what they did, and I was like, mind blow, like total mind blow.
Yeah, it's interesting how vulnerable you really are. Like when you first learn, your first few days of classes, it's different than almost anything else because you feel like there's nothing you could do to get out of it. You know what I mean? Like I felt like sparring when I kickbox spar with people that were better than me, I'm like, at least I can move. At least I could avoid this guy and, you know, maybe survive a few rounds if I fight defensively, don't extend myself, you know, don't leave anything hanging out there, just play tight to my chest, like spar smart. I know this person's better than me, but I can get through this round. Yeah, I would do jiu-jitsu against guys who were black belts when I was a white belt or a blue belt, and I'd be like, there's nothing. There's not a thing I can do. This is 100% positive he's going to tap me. It's about what he's practicing on me.
It's fun though if the guy on top of you is not being an
asshole.
If he's cool.
Yes. Yeah.
Because you could teach somebody jiu-jitsu in a nice way.
Yes.
It could be it is a gentle art.
It can be, yeah. It can be, yeah.
When I saw the first commercial for UFC 2, I saw them hoist up the champion. I saw them pick up the champion, hoist Gracie. I was shocked. Right. That is small guy. Is martial arts real? I thought it was like... This guy won? No way. I begged my parents to buy UFC 2. I showed it to my brothers. I showed everybody, like, we have to watch this. And then they showed the lineup of guys he's going to fight. I thought, okay, no, he's going to get killed. Like, I didn't see part 1, but this Brazilian guy is going to get killed. He weighs 76 pounds. This guy's 250 pounds. I was like, this guy's going to get killed. Is he crazy? And he won. And if the new generation hasn't watched that, they have to go back and watch it.
They should.
They have to. Because that's the genesis of like, they set martial arts on fire. Everybody wanted to do jiu-jitsu. I couldn't find a jiu-jitsu school in Montreal. I was like dying. Like, if you asked me, cut your arm off, we'll teach you jiu-jitsu, I would do it. Like that's how badly I wanted to learn it. I met a purple belt from Renzo Gracie, Angelo Exaracos, and I was like religious with my lessons. He would teach twice a week, but I would train all week. I made my own mat. I invite my neighbors over. Like it was it was a mind-boggling experience to learn jiu-jitsu. It actually worked. A martial art that really works.
Do you remember Henzo and Craig Kukuk had like the first instructional videos?
Yes.
Those red plastic VHS tapes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
I got those.
Yeah.
Yeah. Those were like the first instructionals.
Mm-hmm.
Because before you would have to go somewhere to learn. They were the first guys to actually put it down in an instructional form.
I would buy all of them.
Oh, I bought all of them. I remember I used one of the mount escapes once in class against a guy who's I was like maybe I was a blue belt. Not even. I think it was a white belt. But I secured this guy's arm and I bucked and kicked him over towards where I had taken away his base.
Bridge and roll.
And I was like, holy shit, it worked. Because I watched it in the video and then I wound up doing it in the class. I was like, this is crazy. He's like, where'd you learn that? And I was like, I got this video, man. Renzo Gracie, Craig Kukuk.
Now, let me ask you this. Mind experiment. Imagine you have no martial arts training. None. Take everything you've learned, throw it away.
Okay.
Take away all your physical training.
Okay.
You walk into a room full of people. How do you feel psychologically?
A little insecure.
Insecure.
Guys. Yeah.
Insecure.
Yeah.
That's how regular people feel.
Yeah.
Most people, I should say, most. They never train in their life. They're unskilled to deal with a situation that might occur. Could occur at any moment.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's such a gift to train like I train all my students, my kids. It's mandatory. Training to a certain level is mandatory. It's like mathematics is mandatory to a certain level. Like you can't, in Canada, you can't say, oh, I want to drop out of high school. Now it's illegal now. If I remember.
It's illegal to drop out of high school?
I'm not sure I think it is now. Or they're going to pass it.
Wow.
But it's like you need a certain level of education. And I'm not sure now if high school is, like let's say elementary school. Okay, you can't drop out of elementary school. High school though, I'm not sure. I have to double check, but I'm pretty sure it's illegal now at this point.
Well, I think that would stop a lot of bullying. And I've said this before, but I think it's counterintuitive to people. They think that bullying is a mean person, and if you taught them how to fight, they'd become meaner. But I don't think that's the case. I think bullies are insecure.
Yes.
Yeah. I think if you took away that and they got to really establish through training that they have character and that they're worth something and they don't have to be insecure and they build up this confidence, you wouldn't see them going out and picking on people.
I've had so many parents tell me, I don't recognize my son when he's with you. He's so disciplined, he's so kind, he's soft-spoken. He's like at home, he's an animal. He acts up. I'm like, really? Well, here, if you did that, it would be a problem. You know,
yes,
like people respect the dojo. They respect the environment they're in because there are other guys out there that put you in line.
Yes.
And that's the real world. And some people, they don't know that. Like I remember one time I was in an airplane and a guy punched the back of my seat. I swear to God. I leaned back. He had a laptop on his tray.
Yeah.
When I lean back, it crushes the laptop. Like, I don't know. The guy has a laptop. I'm allowed to lean my seat back. I lean it back. The guy pushes, like, he palmed it hard, like, boom. And I was like, excuse me, sir. Is there a problem? He's like, don't lean your chair back. I'm like, whoa. I'm like, this is a guy who's never gotten a beating in his life. The way he talked to me was so rude. I was like, dude, man. Like, I would never talk like that to somebody. Never. Why? Because you learn through martial arts, you know, like respect everyone, man. Respect is huge. One day you're the hunted, the other day you're the hunter, and it's just like the way life works, you know. Like, have respect. Why should, like, this guy's instigating a fight now? We know what violence is. It could be really bad for one of us here. Like, why would you want to go there? Just
over
say
a laptop movie?
Yeah, you just say, I would have been like, sorry, sir, my fault, my apologies. I would have bought the guy. I would have bought him whatever he wants. Like, I would have took care of it. Like, I would have been nice to him about it. Because we know the realities of violence. Like, some people don't know the realities of violence. Like, I've seen people, like, on video, they're in a certain situation and they act all crazy. Hey, this might spark some violent event here.
Yeah.
Like, you don't want this. You don't know what violence is. You've seen it on TV. You've seen it in a movie. You think you know what it is to be punched and kicked. And, like, this could end really bad for you. Like, would you want to play with that if you know what it was? Like, sometimes I see people starting a fight. I'm like, this person has no idea what they're talking about. Like, they've never been in a fight. They're instigating a fight. A fight might occur and they might regret it. Like, they don't know what it is to be hit, to be attacked, to be in a fight. So, like, I find it always, like, jaw-dropping when somebody's going to instigate a fight over something so small.
And they don't even know how to fight, which is what's even crazier.
I told that guy off so bad.
Did you?
Oh, because, you know, I told him off so bad. I scared the hell out of him. And I was like, yo, what are you going to do now? And he was like, he turned white. I'm like, dude, like, I could have been an old lady here.
Yeah. You
could have hit an old lady. She's pulling her chair back. I told him off. Look, we're in an airplane too. So I told him off. Like, I didn't yell or anything, but I told him off. I told him he's a real, you know, I told him what I think of him. That guy shut his mouth. But it's like, dude, you want to fight over this laptop? Like, seriously, like.
No one can possibly know that you have a laptop open.
No, but.
And the fact that you palm someone's chair.
Me, when I'm in public, the last thing I want to do is fight.
Yeah, of course. Of course.
The last thing. I got it out of my system.
Well, isn't it funny? Like, when was the last time you saw a fight at the gym?
Never.
Maybe. Occasionally. Some guys get mad if some guy doesn't let go of someone taps or something like that.
A little thing.
Yeah.
A little thing.
But it's rare.
Yeah.
But a bar? Jesus Christ. Almost every weekend. People fight.
The worst place to be.
It's you understand what it is, and I think most people don't, and I think most people are scared of it, and I think that's why they posture. That's why they puff their chest up. That's why they pretend. Most people have zero idea. Most people that haven't had any sort of a physical altercation, they have zero idea of how vulnerable they truly are. They really just don't know.
There's this left turn I take to the gym that people think it's illegal. Like, my wife, when I did it once, she's like, it's an illegal turn. I'm like, no, it's not. I videotaped the light. There's 2 green lights going left. I had to send it to her, and she's like, oh, okay, you're right. I take that left turn twice a day, every day, to go to the gym. One day I take that left turn, and this guy races his car towards me like he's going to plow through my door, honks at me, starts telling me off. I'm like, I open my car door. I'm like, let's go. You want to go? The guy is like, he got scared. I'm like, dude, you're like talking to me like you're my father here. You want to go? And the guy was like, turn away. He didn't want to come out of his car. I go, then shut your mouth. It's not an illegal light. I get in my car and I leave. But that guy was Mr. Tough. That guy's never been in a fight in his life. Now that it's, you know, he's in his car, he's safe. And I hate stuff like this. Like
cars are so weird too. You know why?
So weird. People are crazy when they're behind the wheel.
It's also, someone explained it to me psychologically. What happens is when you're driving, you understand that you have to make these split-second decisions because you're moving fast, right? So everything's accelerated. So you're on edge. So if someone does something wrong, like, you fucking idiot! It's like people blow up at a level that they would never blow up if you were just walking. Like, how many times have you been in a crowded street like Manhattan or something and people accidentally bump into people? It's almost never an issue. It's like, oh, well, sorry. You know, you don't have that heightened sense of worry because you're not moving very fast where you have to make these split-second decisions. So your brain is geared up to the speed that you're moving at. That's why on the highway people go fucking nuts because their brain is already at like 7 or 8 before anything ever happens.
Do you think it has a lot to do, like on the internet, you're behind your keyboard?
Oh yeah.
There's nothing you could do to me.
Right.
I'm a distance away.
There's a little bit of that, but
the guy's behind his car. He thinks I'm going to drive away. You know,
there's a little bit of that.
Yeah,
there's a little bit of that too.
Yeah, there's a little bit of everything.
There's a lot of factors, but there is a psychological aspect to driving a car because your brain is ramped up to make quick decisions. You know, I think that the society that we live in with people behind keyboards and with anonymous names, that's a coward's way of existing. It really is. It is a coward's way of existing.
The worst of the worst.
It's the worst. You saying mean things to people while no one can see your face. That's not your real name. You're pretending to be something you're not. And when you see it happen with fighters, to me, it's fucking crazy. I'll go to people's Twitter pages when a fighter wins or something like that, and then they see all the assholes talking shit to them.
Oh, my God.
Like, you guys are out of your fucking mind. I wish they all had to use their name with their face, and it showed the city where they live. That's what I wish. I wish, like, if you wanted to have a more civilized version of social media, you should be able to see your face and your name and where you live. You know, Facebook is probably a little. I don't use Facebook, but I guess it's probably a little. The only way I use Facebook, it's connected to my Instagram. So if I post on Instagram, it goes to Facebook. I read it a few times, like the crazy shit that people write. I'm like, I don't want any part of you.
It's nuts. It's the worst side of human beings.
Yes. It's also the thing about Facebook that drives me crazy is there's no limit to how much you can write. So you write these long fucking
Who can read that? Who can read it?
Assholes. People that post those things, they also write it. But there's something about that, at least with Facebook, it's your name. It's Firas Zahabi. You see your name. You know, I mean, I guess you could have a fake name on Facebook.
Yeah, you can make a fake account.
I don't think you should be able to. I think the only problem against that would be, like, say if you were a woman and you're working at an office and your boss was abusing you or sexually harassing you and you couldn't say anything anonymously. You know what I mean? Like, you should be able to anonymously say something, or maybe even there's something going on at your job where it's illegal, where people's lives are being put in damage. You should be able to leak. Yes.
Whistleblow.
Yes. You should be able to say certain things anonymously. But other than the talking shit, as soon as you talk shit, all those privileges are revoked.
But why do people do this, you think?
Because, again, the same thing is like what we were talking about earlier. They're insecure.
They've never been checked.
It's also when people are constantly criticizing people and constantly judging people and constantly insulting people, that is a way to avoid self-analysis. And it's a way you're comparing yourself, whether you like it or not, to that person. And you, instead of self-reflection, you're just shitting on that person. When you see a guy, like, when guys are talking shit to John Jones, you know, it's like you're giving a finger to the lion. You know, you see the lion in the cage, like, you're in a fucking cage, faggot. You know, like, that's what it's like. It's like they can't do anything because he can't get out of that cage because he doesn't know who you are because you have a fake Twitter name and you're hiding behind one of those eggs. You know, you're not a real person. And you can say all this crazy shit to him or to, you know, fill in the blank, any UFC fighter. And I see it all the time. It's
crazy.
It's weird.
Let me put you in there with John Jones.
Oh, my God.
With 16-ounce gloves, you're going to freak out.
Oh, my God.
It's not even a real fight.
20-ounce gloves, you'll freak out.
You're not even going to make it in. Your legs are going to tremp. Like, you're gonna collapse.
You're just staring down at the beginning. The referee's reading your instructions, just wetting your pants. He's an interesting guy, man. He's such an interesting guy.
He is. I've worked with him in the past.
Yeah?
Yeah. Before he was a megastar.
Oh, no kidding. When he was up in New York?
Yeah. He used to come to TriStar and, like, yeah.
I was the one who told him how to get out of New York.
Yeah?
Yeah. We were smoking weed in a hotel room.
Really?
Yeah. Well, I was telling him.
You've given some good advice, Joe.
You know, it's one thing about being an observer, like being on the outside, but caring about those guys. I like John a lot. And I knew he was like, super talented. And this is in the early days. You know, he was like, when he's beating up Stephan Bonner, I was like, listen, man, I go, you got something. I'm like, you gotta go to a real camp. Because he was just so talented, and he would train, and he had such a strong wrestling background, but also so creative. He would just do spinning elbows and shit, like practice stuff. I'm like, dude, you gotta go somewhere. You gotta find a place. And he eventually wound up going to Jackson's, but he could have gone anywhere. I mean, he could have gone to you. He could have gone to a lot of different places. He's just what a unique talent that guy is. When you're 23 years old, you open up your first title fight with a flying knee against a legend like Shogun. Opens up with a flying knee.
Yeah.
I'm like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Certain guys just, that's the interesting thing about the UFC style of sort of throwing fighters to the wolves. Because the UFC, unlike boxing, in boxing, they take a guy, and they'll slowly work him through the ranks of journeymen, and they give him different looks. This guy likes to fight inside. Let's see how he handles that. And then they eventually get him to the point where he's 15-0, 16-0. They get him in there with a contender, and they calculate risk versus reward. With the UFC, man, you could have... you could have like 2 fights, and Usman needs a fight, and they'll throw you in there.
I find that I like what boxing does. They build up a guy, because the thing is, if you take 2 studs and you put them together, the crowd doesn't know that they're 2 studs. They nullify each other, so they look like average fighters.
Right.
But they're not average fighters.
Right.
If you give them a 500 fighter, he'll eat him up.
Right.
And you're showing to the fans, look, this is a 500 fighter. We're going to give that guy a chance to prove himself. The 500 fighter thinks he's improved. That's why he took the fight. Mm-hmm. And this fighter is a young stud. We think he's going to be a star. These are fights to demonstrate that this guy's in a different league. And then you have this other guy you had built up. And when you put them together, there's an anticipation. You sell out the crowd. Like, that's what boxing does. And it's very intelligent in a way.
Yeah.
Because if you put Mayweather and De La Hoya early on, nobody knows how good they are.
Exactly.
They make each other look normal.
Right. Yeah, you can certainly make an argument for that, but then again, there's the argument of the outlier, like John Jones. Right. Few fights into his UFC career, becomes the youngest champion of all time.
But he also has 300 plus wrestling matches. Like, he has a lot of experience.
Very true, and very important. And people don't think about that as fights, but they're competitions at a high level with physicality. Yeah. There's definitely an argument for that, and it's also there's something about having the ability to stuff takedowns and then execute takedowns, which is it evens things out in so many different ways, because you can always dictate where the fights take place.
And his reach.
Yeah. Oh, he's got so many things.
The greatest reach in history of UFC. There's no longer reach ever.
Not just the greatest. Well, I don't think so. I think Semi Schilt probably had a longer reach.
You're right.
Yeah. But also
today.
Well, what about Stefan Struve? He had to have a longer reach.
Did he?
He's 7 feet tall.
Is Struve's reach longer? I'm not sure.
Struve's fucking ridiculous, bro.
Oh, you know what? No. I think John's the longest reach.
What?
I don't know. I have to look it up.
How could John's reach be longer?
You know what
than
it was? I had read an article. They were talking about the reach, and they were saying that the reach is the deficit of your height and length. So, how much longer is your reach comparative to your height?
Oh, I see what you're saying.
That's reach. They call it reach apex or something.
They're the same.
Really?
84.5 inches.
Who's that?
Wow. Stefan Struve and John Jones have the same. Yeah. That's crazy.
There you go.
Struve is 7 feet tall. Oh my God. Well, John is the very best at utilizing that reach and just keeping guys on the outside.
He's very intelligent.
Distance. Oh yeah.
He's very creative and intelligent. He knows what's going on in the fight all the way, and he shifts his strategy as the fight goes on. Yeah. Like, he's a very intelligent guy.
Yeah. I'm really curious to see if Dominic Reyes can hang with him. Very curious. Very. It
depends which John Jones shows up.
I think he's very motivated for that fight.
He should be.
Well, I think he also realizes, like, look, he lost a lot of time fucking off and getting suspended and all the dumb shit that he did. He has a chance. He's still, right now, the #1 pound-for-pound fighter in the world. He's still the light heavyweight champion. And if he moved up to heavyweight, he would be the #1 contender. I mean,
he should fight heavyweight.
I think so, too.
Why hasn't he fought heavyweight?
I think he wants to clean out the division. I think he has a couple fights at light heavyweight. And I think now there's a real possibility that he might stick. I think you've got Corey Anderson, who looked fantastic in his last fight. You know, Johnny Walker, they were thinking was going to be the next guy for the title. Corey starches
He's
in the first round.
He's a guy I like to work with, Johnny Walker.
Or Johnny Walker? Yeah.
I think he needs more polishing.
Yes. Oh, for sure. He's got
great talent.
Silly power.
Yes.
His power is crazy.
But he needs to.
Yeah.
He's a very big prospect.
Yes. No, I agree. He's a wild man too. But Corey found holes in his game.
Exactly.
Just figured it out, and Corey is clearly one of the top contenders. So, like, there's two guys that really stand out. There's Corey Anderson, and there's Dominic Reyes. And Dominic with that knockout over Chris Weidman. Yeah, that's
hard to watch for me.
I didn't like that fight for Chris. I don't like him moving. I think he's a 185-pound fighter. I think he should stay there. That I think there's too few divisions, man.
Not a good fight to go to 205 for the first time.
No, terrible.
Very bad idea.
Terrible.
I liked him versus Rockhold at 205.
That's interesting.
I don't know what happened there. There was I think it was scheduled once upon a time. Was it?
I think so too.
They have to if they're gonna fight those two. That's the fight to make.
Yeah, well, Rockhold's done. I think he doesn't want to do it anymore. He's
gonna
have a jiu-jitsu match though. He's gonna do some jiu-jitsu matches.
Who's he going against? Is it Gordon?
I think he's talked shit about Gordon. I don't know if there's anything actually scheduled.
Won't go well for him.
Well, it's his legs. Legs could be in real trouble.
I've trained with Gordon a lot. Like,
yeah.
He may never walk again. Like, you should be careful. Like, I wouldn't talk shit to him,
Yeah. Well,
like,
all those Danaher leg locks especially scare the fuck out of me, man.
Listen, if you're talking a lot, it might take a second or two longer to let go of the leg lock.
Yeah.
You got to be careful with that.
And you hear the cracking, popping of your ligaments and meniscus. Ugh.
Like, my favorite grappling match of all time is Paul Harris versus Gary Tonin.
That was a great fight. And Paul Harris was probably like 25 pounds heavier than him.
More.
How much heavier was he?
I don't know, but he came in overweight.
Did he?
He's just, you got tested positive already.
Oh, for sure.
Now he's out of UFC. He's not.
Gary tested positive from being in the same room as him. That's how positive he is.
At one point, he takes Gary and throws Gary, like literally just.
Yeah.
And it's like Gary just kind of rolls.
Yeah.
That's what jiu-jitsu is.
Yeah.
Just going with the flow of it all.
And you fought him to a draw.
And I thought, well, he got the better of him, but the rules is there's no sub.
Right.
It's a draw. But Gary, if there was no time limit, Gary's going to sub him. He was gassing out. Mm-hmm. He was slowing down, and Gary was just picking it up on him, and he was gonna catch him.
Yeah. Well, another great one is Cyborg versus Gordon Ryan, where Cyborg was a multiple-time jiu-jitsu champion, veteran of the game, and Gordon Ryan had only been doing jiu-jitsu like 5 years.
Yeah, times have changed.
Something crazy like that.
John Danaher's found a way to teach you jiu-jitsu in a nutshell. Like, he's just now the most efficient trainer in the history of jiu-jitsu.
Yes.
Gordon won double gold again.
Yeah.
And in stunning fashion, too.
And after knee surgery.
Yes.
Yeah.
John has created a new way. The best jiu-jitsu place in the world today is New York, Renzo Gracie Academy. The way that I'm telling you, the purple belts today are scary as hell. Like, if you roll with their purple belt, it's like he's a super seasoned black belt. Like, I had one of my students, I promoted him to brown belt, and I got in a lot of trouble from John because I took him from purple belt to brown belt, and the guy had my student had subbed like 5 black belts that year. And I was like, okay, time for a brown belt. And John's like, no, he's not good enough yet. I'm like, okay, but he subbed 5 black belts in competition, like real good black belts. And he's like, so what? They just have a new standard now. Their purple belts today at Renzo's John, it's a new standard. These guys are so good. It's scary, man. You better know the leg lock. I learned leg locks from them.
It's crazy too that it's in Manhattan where the price for rent is so goddamn high, and they still have like 1,000 students.
It's crazy. It's if you go there and you're a stud, if you're a stud and you go in that practice room, you're a regular Joe. Wow. Like, I don't care if you're GSP. I don't care you are like, this is gonna be a hard day. And you better be nice, like, you better be humble when you come in here, like I just sent Kevin Lee there, like, I'm telling you, they're so good, this generation, like the generation under me and George, they're so good. They got so good so fast.
And Eddie Cummings opened up his own place, right?
I think he's at another club.
You think he opened up his own place? Yeah.
And he was John's student. Like, I used to roll with Eddie back in the day. He wasn't that great. Like, you could see he's a very intelligent guy.
Very.
And then all of a sudden, he got super good. Like, I'm telling you, night and day. Like, I'd roll with him once, and he was okay, Then I came back like 6 months later, a year later, and he's like he was unbelievable. And John had just been developing these new. John's in there 8 hours a day, man, figuring out little things, and
sleeping on the mat,
and teaching Eddie this, teaching Eddie. And Eddie's not a freakishly athletic guy. He's a good athlete, but not like, it's not his athleticism. It's the technique, the skill. Like he's catching me in things I don't even know what they are, and that's what it is. That's jiu-jitsu. Once they innovate something, you don't know what it is. It's like you're getting caught in that. And that's what John does, is innovating all sorts of things in the game, that now his student, who's a purple belt, is better than that black belt over there. They had one blue belt. They promoted him at Abu Dhabi, purple belt. He's a blue belt at Abu Dhabi. He got on the podium and they gave him his purple belt. I'm forgetting his name now. It's Nick something. The
Rodriguez?
Is it? I can't remember. He's new. He's brand new on the circuit.
Yeah, big, strong guy.
I haven't even trained with him once yet. Like I haven't gone to New York in a little bit. I didn't go to New York the last time. I didn't go to Henzo's last time I was in New York.
Google Nick Rodriguez, Renzo Gracie. He's like a heavyweight, right?
Yeah, he's a big boy.
Yeah. Didn't he beat Cyborg? Didn't he beat him by decision?
Did he beat him? I'm not sure.
I think he did. I think he was the one, now that I'm thinking of it, who they said was going to have a grappling match against...
Rockhold. Yes. I think that's what it is. Yeah. I think he beats Rockhold.
Wow.
Yeah. I'm telling you, they're good, man. They're good. They're getting good so fast. It's crazy. Look at Nicky Ryan.
Yeah.
Listen, I love that kid. When he was like 15, he came to my gym. Like now he's like, I don't know, 16, 17. Yeah.
Rumors are true. Meet the guy who won third at ADCC trials after just 6 months of training. Also, freakishly strong guy. Yeah.
Yes, for sure. Very good athlete.
Yeah, Nick Rodriguez. There it is.
Yeah.
6 months. That is just fucking ridiculous.
Yeah, I'm telling you, they're getting good so fast.
That is just, how does someone come in third place in Abu Dhabi with 6 months of training? Like, what in the fuck, man?
John has a system now. Like, it's...
He was a model. And then he started doing this, it says. He was making money being a fitness model or something.
Crazy. But what does that mean these days? Like, you could have an Instagram page where you stick your ass out.
He's in high school. I don't know. It's different than it's a dude doing it.
How old is he? I think he's only like 19. I think he's really young. Does it say?
It doesn't say his age off.
Is he 19?
Top to top.
I think he's young. He's like maybe he's 21 or something like that. But I feel like he's pretty young.
I got to roll with Nicky Ryan. And I've been doing jiu-jitsu longer than he's been alive, you know? And he's so good. Dude.
Yeah.
At 23.
23. Okay, I'm wrong.
He's so good. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, man. He's a really interesting guy, too, because his brother's so big. And he's like, what is he, like 150 pounds or something like that?
No, a little more. I would say 160, 165. He's not huge, but...
Yeah. His brother's a goddamn gorilla, though.
Yeah.
That's a big fella.
Yeah, and they're smart kids. I mean, John, like, schools them, like, to be smart. It's incredible.
And did they start out with him? With John?
Yes. Well, actually, no. I think they were in a neighboring school, but, like, this is John's curriculum. Like, I have to be honest. Like, I've been in the practice room with them many times. Like, everything they do is John, man. I'm telling you, like, there's not a movement in there that's not him. He's incredible. He's an incredible trainer.
He is incredible. And how ironic is it? What's going on here?
Oh,
there it is. Polaris 12, 103 kilogram catch weight. What is that? What is that?
220?
210? Is that what it is? But it's 2.2 for...
Oh, that's soon.
Yeah.
4.3 times 2 is about 9, 10.
So 103...
4.5 times 2 is 9.
Okay. Because so Rockhold, when he fought at light heavyweight, I wonder how much weight he cut to get to 205. That's interesting, though. 30th of November. Okay, that's real fucking soon, man.
A few days.
Yeah. Oh, it's on UFC Fight Pass. Oh, shit.
Sunday, I think.
This Sunday. Oh, shit.
You gotta watch it.
Oh, I'm definitely gonna watch it. I'm gonna be in Hawaii.
Are you?
Yeah, man.
Cool.
There's gotta be a competitor. Like, is there anybody that's like close to putting out that kind of talent that quickly? Because it seems like usually that's crazy. It seems like usually when someone comes along like that, then others rise as well. You know, other people recognize.
It'll happen. People will go down, see what he's doing, try to figure it out. You know,
it's crazy that there's also a guy.
Yeah.
Look at these guys. Jesus Christ. There's Kevin.
There's Kevin. Yeah.
Look at this size of Nicky Rodriguez. This is a fucking huge fella. But what's crazy is that like John Danaher has this fucked up knee and a fucked up hip, and he's teaching people how to fuck people's knees up.
It's incredible. Ironic.
It's
poetic,
weird.
but it is the case.
It's weird. So back to Dominic Reyes and John Jones. What do you think about that fight?
Depends which John Jones shows up. Like, is he motivated to train? Because if you underestimate Reyes, you're gonna lose. because he's human, John. You know, like especially his last fight, we saw he's human. You know, everybody obviously is, but he's got to take this guy seriously. Because the thing is, you're undefeated. You have this allure to you. You can't be beaten, and all of a sudden somebody beats you. How many times have we seen that? Like the Ronda Rousey fight. Like one day it's gonna happen to you. And that's sort of one thing I think that made George great, because George was always scared of that day. And I used to always put it in his ear. Oh, look at this champ. Everybody thought he was undefeated. Then he lost. Like, we'd always talk about these things. And that day is always around the corner. You got to get out before that day comes, because that day, it's going to happen. Everybody has expiry date. And I feel like, you know, Reyes is a serious contender.
He really is. Yeah. And he's got lightning fast hands. That counter punch that he knocked out Weidman with, like, holy shit. Then finishes him on the ground with hammer fists. But I was saying that I just think there should be more weight classes. I really do. I think the jump between 85 and 205 is just too giant. 20 pounds.
I would love to see lightweight, super lightweight, welterweight, super welterweight.
Yes.
Like, there's going to be so many interesting fights.
Yes. Yeah. I think it should be every 10 pounds.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think that's unreasonable at all. In boxing, it varies, sometimes 4, 7. It depends on the weight class. But I don't think there's anything wrong with having a 35, 45, 55, 65, 75, and do it like that.
Yeah, and let guys fight in different divisions.
Yes.
Like I can fight 2 divisions. I can sign for 2 divisions.
Yes.
Why not?
Why not?
There's going to be so many great fights to make.
I think they have this idea that there'll be too many champions, but I just completely disagree. They just made a belt for the baddest motherfucker in the world.
They needed another title fight for that card.
Yes.
You can't get these 2 champions to agree. They both have a title.
Yeah.
Because originally it was supposed to be Usman and Colby, if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
You can't get them to agree for whatever reason. Oh, we're going to have this other title fight. You have to have a title fight in New York.
Yes.
It has to be a good one. Trump is coming. You know, you got to have something really amazing.
Trump is coming.
You do. You can't have like a regular 3-round fight.
Yeah, true. Trump is
coming. You got to have
funny.
Something, you know.
Yeah. Trump is coming. We need a title fight.
You need something special. It's New York City, man. It's New York City.
That's the thing. It's like
New York City.
When you're in Madison Square Garden, it's not just the fights, it's where you are.
It's history.
Yeah.
You got to bring your A game, you know. You got to make it something legendary. You got to make it something historical.
That's true. Yeah, you're in the most iconic arena in combat sports history, and that's the spot. I mean, that place has been around forever. It feels different when you're in there, too. It really does. So for Kevin to win that fight by head kick KO and come back and do it in Madison Square, how happy were you, man?
Oh, man, I was super happy.
You're happy just thinking about it.
Everybody thought he was going to miss weight. Everybody thought he was going to lose. Like, everybody picked Gregor.
Dangerous fight.
Yeah, it's a very dangerous fight.
Gregor was undefeated, and phenomenal wrestler.
During that camp, the last 2 weeks, Kevin pops his ankle.
Did he really?
Yeah, really badly. So I was like, oh, man, the fights might be off. You know, like, it was really bad. Then the next day he comes in limping in. He's like, I'm going to keep training. I'm like, whoa, man. Like, he's really limping. That Friday he sparred again, but I told him, like, you got to put on a ankle brace because it was really bad. Then he hurts himself again Friday.
Same ankle?
Same ankle, same injury. Like, it was so, the injury was still really, really bad. Like, he shouldn't have been sparring, but I couldn't stop him. Like, he really wanted to keep training.
Wow.
I was like, maybe you should take Friday off. No, coach, I'm okay. He told me, don't worry, I don't feel anything. I see him limping around, but he's like, I'll warm up, I'll be okay. He's a very tough kid. And look, this is what it takes sometimes. You know, you want to win a big fight, you have to work through these kind of things. And he hurts himself a second time. And I'm like, you know, this is tough. And PI, the Performance Institute, helped him a lot. They checked it. They said it's still, you know, it's mechanically sound. It's just kind of like no key ligaments are broken or anything like that. And he ended up winning with a head kick with that bad ankle.
Oh wow!
Yeah, that was his bad ankle. But it was a scary injury we had in practice. You know how it is in practice. Yeah. Like sometimes you could be as safe as you want to be.
Yeah.
But I mean, fighters when they get in there, a lot of times they're already injured.
Oh yeah.
You're not 100% when you're in there. You got a wrist, you got a neck, you got something. But this one was really bad. This was really bad. And I was like, he's like, no, listen, I made the decision. I'm gonna go through with it. I'm like, okay.
So what was he like the week of the fight?
He was a lot better by then, but still I was worried about it because it's not as stable as it should be.
Oh wow! Did he tape it up or anything?
No, I don't think we're allowed. I asked, and we're not allowed to tape.
Why can you not tape?
I don't know.
But you could tape your wrists,
the gauze and all that. Yeah.
How come you can't tape your ankle?
I don't know.
That doesn't make any fucking sense. There's so many goofy rules, man.
Yeah.
If you got an injury,
I
wonder why.
Oh, you remember when Sakuraba used to fight?
Yeah, with his knee.
His knees were like mummified.
Yeah.
They were covered halfway up his thigh, all the way down his calf. He used to have the most crazy knee wraps ever. I mean, and Sakuraba was a leg lock specialist too. He probably mangled his knees in training. you know, and all the fights and all the training.
I heard he smokes and drinks before
practice. Smokes and drinks.
Before practice.
Yes. He didn't give a fuck. Cigarettes. Do you remember when he fought Conan Silveira and they made him fight again? He fought twice in the same day. They fought. John McCarthy stopped the fight. Conan hit him with an uppercut, and Sakuraba dropped down, grabbed a hold of an ankle, was fighting for a takedown, and John had already stopped the fight because he thought Sakuraba went out. So they're in Japan. Everybody goes crazy, right? This was the same year. This is the same fight where Frank Shamrock submitted Kevin Jackson. Remember?
Oh, yeah, the armbar.
Remember that? Beautiful armbar with shoes on.
The fastest armbar in history of armbars.
Was it?
I don't know. It looked fast.
One of them.
As soon as he took him down, armbar.
Boom, armbar, yeah. So he fights again and then submits Conan.
They come out of the locker room. Let's fight.
Then they fought again, like one fight later. And so when they fight again, Sakuraba gets him in an armbar and makes him tap. And we're like, what? A Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt tapped? Like, no one thought that Conan would tap. Like, this is crazy.
Sakuraba was so special.
Oh, my God.
This generation that didn't get to watch him fight has to go back and look at those fights.
Oh, they have to go back.
There was something so special about him.
Yeah.
I don't know what it was. And look, I love the Gracies, and he was beating the Gracies, and you couldn't help but like him.
You called him the Gracie Hunter, remember?
Yeah.
Remember when he broke Henzo's arm?
Yes, the Kimura.
Yep.
Of course.
Snapped his arm.
Henzo was winning that fight.
Yeah.
It just came down to the last little exchange.
Well, in that scramble, Henzo's arm just was, look at that.
Oh, my God.
Oh, my God. Look at that. Yeah. That is fucking nasty.
Henzo beat him after in Metamoris, in a grappling match.
Oh, that's right.
And Halleck beat him in the MMA. Halleck Gracie went back.
Oh, that's right.
That was very gutsy of Halleck.
That's right.
He said, you know what? I'm going to go fight this Gracie Hunter.
You know who dismantled him?
Who?
Mayhem Miller.
Really?
Mayhem Miller, when he was in his prime. When Mayhem Miller went over and fought in Pride when he was in his prime. And when he was really a contender. And he systematically broke Sakuraba down, beat the shit out of him, and submitted him.
He's a very tough guy.
He was fucking good, man, for a while. Look at him there, throwing a peace sign up.
Yeah, he was always a crazy guy.
Well, he's always a crazy guy. And then, like legit problems after that.
I imagine.
And then after the Bisping fight, then he had even more legit problems. But in that fight, man, he was on point. He beat the fuck out of Sakuraba. The scariest loss, though, that Sakuraba ever had, well, there's 3 scary losses. The 2 to Vanderlei, they were both terrifying. He got really fucked up by Vanderlei. But then Melvin Manhoef. Melvin Manhoef beat the fuck out of him with soccer kicks on the ground and all that crazy shit. Back when Melvin was Melvin. Melvin, remember what that guy was built like?
Oh, my goodness.
Like fucking like a superhero. Didn't look like a real person.
I've seen him fight live. Like, man, the guy's a savage.
Woo, he's fast. Remember when he knocked out Mark Hunt with one punch?
Did he knock? Oh, yes.
He was 185 pounds, and he knocked out Mark Hunt with one fucking punch. This was a
kickboxing fight, though, right? Was it?
No, it was MMA.
MMA?
No. Look at Melvin. Jesus Christ. He would come in with those gladiator shorts on. The gladiator frill shorts, he fucked him up. That's not Sakuraba though.
No,
that's someone else he's fighting.
The greatest fight, one of the greatest, the greatest comeback fight I've ever seen in my life was K1 Heroes Sakuraba. He's getting beat up by this Lithuanian guy. I don't even know the guy's name. And we're in Japan. We're watching the main event.
Here, put this ahead to the actual fight here. But back it up a little. Back it up. It's a real quick fight, man. It happens in like no. Go like where the K is. See where it says 3.7x, 3.7K with a thumb up. The first thumb up. Go to that part. Right there. Bam. Right there. Click there. They're not fighting yet. Yeah, but it's right before it gets fighting. They're right about to. He's got a dog collar on.
Yeah, he bring him out on a leash, his coach.
Yeah, he had a dog collar on. He was at Mike's gym.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, scoot up. Right there is good. Right there is good. When you see them, so they're fighting off, and so Mark Hunt charges at him, and when Mark Hunt charges at him, Melvin just catches him while he's coming in. So they exchange a little bit here on the feet, just a little bit of moving around. Mark Hunt's so much bigger than him, man. Mark Hunt might be 100 pounds bigger than him. No bullshit. He easily could be 290. Easily. And a tank. Look at this. Boom! Ooh. One shot. I mean, come on, son. Who the fuck knocks out Mark Hunt with one punch?
It's crazy.
That's crazy. He was so fucking fast, man. So fucking fast.
There's a K1 Heroes fight. Sakuraba fights a Lithuanian guy. An unknown guy. And this guy's beating the hell out of Sakuraba.
Oh, I saw that fight. Yes.
He is beating. I'm like, stop,
terrifying.
Man. Just stop this fight.
Yeah,
and he's between the ropes, and the Lithuanian guy is just And we're like, God. And the Japanese people just believe in him so much. They know he's going to make it out of there. And he comes back to life, starts winning. We're like, what the? And then he arm wrestles this Lithuanian guy. And then they throw up the confetti yes. And everybody's like, I'm like, the Japanese people just believe. This is it.
Look at that. Boom.
I'm like, stop this fight, man. I'm live here. I'm in the stands. I'm in the fight.
He's getting punched in the back of the head so bad. And everything. Oh my God.
Okay, stop the fight. No, right. no, not gonna stop the fight. Not gonna stop the fight.
Crazy.
Wait a second. Oh no, they want to bring him back in the ring.
Yep.
Oh, he's out of bounds. Okay.
And this guy, he's punched him while the referee's got a hold of him.
Before he even said good, go.
Hammer fisted him.
This is one of the greatest comebacks I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah, it makes you think there's no way Sakuraba's going to survive here. There's no way. And he keeps moving, and this guy keeps punching him. Yeah, this is crazy.
And standing up, too. He was knocking him around.
And he's hammering the back of his head. Sakuraba was just, he had no quit in him, you know, like none. And sometimes that was horrible to watch because he would wind up getting beat up. Look at his leg. Like, look at that fucking right leg, how much is taped up. It's crazy.
This guy's holding the fence, too.
Yep. Yeah. So eventually gets him down. Scoot up a little bit there, Jamie.
Goes on for 10 minutes.
Yeah. This is a beating.
It does.
This is a beating. This is a beating. And the Lithuanian guy beats him up standing, too. Yeah, he blew his wad.
Yeah, he got exhausted.
He got too tired here.
And then eventually Sakuraba catches him. Look at these uppercuts. The audience is going nuts.
The crowd
the guy was done. You can see how tired he was.
Berserk. The crowd was losing it at this point.
Yeah.
They believe in him so much. When he lost the first time, he was like, oh, look, I'm happy now that the weight is off my shoulders. You know, the Japanese people, now they know I can lose. And like, he had too much pressure on him. They always expect him to win.
Scoot ahead. Oh, there it is. Yeah. So he mounts him.
Incredible.
Takes it. That's how he finished Conan too. Same move.
Yeah, incredible.
Yeah. There's another great come from behind with Melvin when Melvin fought Robbie Lawler. You remember that fight?
Oh my God, that's one of the greatest fights ever. That's one of the greatest fights ever.
Melvin was fucking Robbie Lawler's legs up, and then Robbie Lawler hit him with a haymaker.
This is one of the most legendary. And Cyborg, when he fought Cyborg. Melvin, remember this one?
Yes. Yeah, that was horrendous too. I think the craziest knockout I ever saw was Michael Venom Page versus Cyborg when he caved his head in. Oh my God. That was horrific. Yeah. In all the years I've seen fights, I've never seen a guy get his head literally caved in from a knee.
You know what? When you knock a guy out like that, you don't dance. Like I feel like after Kevin knocked out Gillespie, I told him take a knee. Right. This kid's still down.
Down for a long time.
Yeah, he took a knee. See, you have to respect the guy. We don't know. Like, if the guy is revived, okay, I understand. You want to celebrate. I get it. But sometimes like, this guy's injured.
I don't think anybody thought that he was going to be injured like that, though. I'd never seen a guy's forehead crushed.
But when he went down, he wasn't right, obviously. No. Like, you could tell.
Well, the other thing was Cyborg was saying, like, he wants a fight again in 3 months. And they're like, hey, dude.
He doesn't know where he is.
Yeah.
He doesn't know where he is.
No, like a couple weeks later.
Yeah, but
he's probably still, right?
He's got so many demons in his mind after that. He doesn't know what's going on.
Yeah, right? I mean, remember the x-ray?
Oh,
it's like you see it and you go, oh, no.
Oh, man.
It's hard when your face gets when your face gets broken like that. When all your bone, like, there's got to be some, like Sage. When Sage fought Cosmo Alexander, which is another ridiculous fight. Cosmo's
that was hard for me to watch. Oof, very hard.
Very hard.
Very hard. Because I like the kid. He's a really good kid, Sage.
Yeah,
really nice
good kid.
But doesn't belong in a ring with Cosmo.
No, not yet.
That's the honest truth. Yeah, not yet. No. Especially in a ring, like a tight.
Right.
Like, I like karate in a big 30-foot octagon. I like karate. Yeah. You got the room to breathe here. In a small ring, it's harder to do karate. It's just harder.
Well, also, Cosmo is a world champion.
Oh, my goodness. The guy's a killer.
Yeah, really.
The guy's a killer.
Seasoned striker, and he's quite a bit bigger.
Too much experience, too fast, too soon.
Yeah.
Too fast, too soon. What's the harm of going a little bit lower than, like, much lower than that? Like, I'd rather have gone to a fight that I could have done more. Like, I could have beat a better guy. Than go into a fight where this guy was way too much for me. Like, let me just go up slowly, you know, and see how far I can go and then kind of like challenge myself where it makes sense. That fight to me doesn't make sense.
Yeah, but that's another one. Like, his face was broken in so many different places. Now they got to put his face back together.
Yeah, that could be a fight ending like your career could be over, like fighting career.
Yes.
Could be over. You can never fight again.
He's going to go back to 155. He said, I learned my lesson. Okay.
But you know what? I don't like injuries like that. Like he was in surgery for like 18 hours or something like that. Like, I mean, this is too much. Like you miscalculated here. It can happen to anybody, but at least if I had done it in my weight class against somebody, my level, and it just happened, okay, fine. But that was asking for that.
That's a horrific one. What do you think about ONE FC's desire to stop weight cutting?
Oh, I love this idea.
I do as well.
What's weight cutting? What does that mean?
It's cheating.
What is it?
Sanctioned cheating.
We have to weigh the same. And we fight each other. Why do we have to go through a weight cut?
Right.
It
should be pretending that you weigh less than you weigh.
Yeah.
You weigh 170 for 15 minutes.
Exactly.
Yeah.
The weigh-in is about, we want two guys of the same size to fight each other.
Yeah.
And now guys found a way around the rules.
Now everybody has to do it because otherwise...
It's nuts.
Yeah.
It's nuts.
But when Kevin went up to 170, it just didn't seem right for him. Those guys...
No. They're naturally bigger.
Yeah. And they're doing the same thing that he was doing to get to 155, but now he's not doing that thing anymore. And it also seemed like he got tired quick, but also he wasn't with you. I really believe this, and this is one of the things that I said to him, you need a maestro. You need a conductor. You need someone that's an honest assessor, someone who can look at your overall game, figure out what you're doing, find the flaws, be honest with you, and then tell you when to ramp it up and when to slow it down, and just have and as someone who's been there.
Yeah.
If you don't have that, man, it's just so hard to do all that shit by yourself. There's so many things to think about.
There's so much to think about.
Too much almost, right?
Yeah. And everybody has an opinion. So I always tell people, okay, show me. Just get in the ring and show me your opinion is correct. I'll change my opinion if you could show me. So that's why, like, sometimes I work with trainers and they have these crazy ideas. I just tell them, okay, train some young kid. I have these young kids, train them. Show me your philosophy. I get trainers all the time that want to show me something, and I always entertain them. Always. Come show me. Do a demonstration. But it can't be theoretical. Like one time I had this guy who had this way of making me stronger, like through like a physical therapy. So I said, okay, let me do my max set of pull-ups. And I did like 15 or something. And then we did his treatment, and I went back to the pull-up bar and I did 15. I wasn't stronger. Like I wanted to test this theory, like, and there was nothing it didn't make me stronger. I'm just as strong as I was before the.
There's a lot of those physical therapy guys. Like I'm doing some nerve activation.
Yes,
there's something I'm doing with your. Yes. I'm gonna dig into your scapula with my knuckles, and it's gonna.
But listen, I like to entertain them. Who knows? Maybe the guy might know something.
Well, what's interesting is sometimes the placebo effect catches on, and they'll work with one fighter, and the fighter will go, "Dude, the guy fixed my neck."
Yes.
And then other guys will be like, "Really? He
and then
fixed
all
your
of
neck?"
a sudden,
and the next thing you know, this guy's got a business going.
Yeah.
And he's standing on people's backs. And
oh God.
Doing voodoo.
Trust me, I've seen this too.
I've seen it.
Oh man, I've seen it. I don't want to say names, but I've seen it.
I don't want to say
man.
names either, but I've seen a lot of it. And there's one guy that was going through a bunch of different fighters.
Yes,
and I went and did it with him, and I was like, "What are you doing?"
Yeah.
And this is after 15, 20 minutes of questioning, right? So I'm asking him all these questions.
Yes.
He basically said, "Well, you know how the placebo effect works, right?" And I said, "Well, it works because you think it works, right?" He goes, "Yes." He goes, "The same thing." I go, "So it doesn't work?" He goes, "No, it does work if you believe in it." I go, "So you're saying that you're bullshitting, but if they believe you're bullshit, then it's real. Is that what you're saying?" And like we had this, I trapped him with this long conversation about this. I wouldn't let it go.
Yes.
I was like, "I want to know what you're doing.
Yeah.
Like you tell me what you're doing. Like you're fucking pushing on people's back and pretending you're fixing their eyesight.
Yeah.
This is fucking crazy.
It's nuts.
But there's a lot of that out there because fighters want any kind of edge, whether it's cupping or acupuncture. Bro, once I started doing Thai massage, my game changed. And if you believe your game changes, sometimes your game does change. You know?
You got to test, measure, retest. There's no measuring.
Yes.
It's like, that Game Changers documentary. Mm-hmm. The guy's doing the battle ropes now 1 hour.
Right. We ate carrots.
Yeah, you went from 8 minutes to an hour. You know why people stop after 8 minutes? Because they're bored of doing battle rope for longer than 8 minutes. Like, who does battle rope for more than 8 minutes? That's just crazy. If I give you some, if I tell you, Joe, you got to do battle rope for an hour, and I'll give you $1 million, I guarantee you're gonna do a battle rope for an hour. Like it's you could slow down the pace. Like it's not measured. It's not measured. If I put you on a treadmill and you tell me, look, I can do 12 miles an hour for 1 hour, I'm like, I'll be like on an incline. I'll be like, wow, that's measurable.
Right.
Battle rope, you can slow down. You can kind of like, you can relax your muscles. You're not putting as much wattage out. The reason why you went for an hour is because we're not measuring how much output you're doing.
Yes.
You can like there's a reward for going an hour. You're doing a documentary. Like there's all these things that are not controlled.
Yes.
And there's so much of that in training. There's just so much of that. Everything, there's a voodoo thing out there.
Yeah.
And you're playing with your career too. You got to be careful with the voodoo stuff. You have to be very, very careful. Like, but the thing is also you got to be open-minded because sometimes people do find real things that actually work. I'm not talking about like massage and stuff like that. I haven't seen it, but
meditation.
Visualization. I believe these things can make a difference. But there's also a lot of concrete evidence on these.
Yes,
a lot of concrete evidence,
especially meditation and visualization. Yes. Visualization. There's actually evidence that sometimes it's as effective or more effective than actual training in certain sports. Like they think about one specific type of motion, like throwing a baseball or something like that. And you could argue that if you just really visualize throwing that baseball over and over again and then get motivated and maybe even allow your muscles to heal so you're not throwing the ball as much, but you understand the motion better. Because there's also like there's a point of diminishing returns where you're training too much so your body breaks down, but yet you still think about it and you want to do it, and then you go overboard and then your tissue doesn't recover in time, and then you train again and you're in a compromised state. Whereas if you trained less but visualized the extra time.
Have you ever heard of Laney Basham?
I don't know. Why does it sound familiar?
He's a what do you call it? Skeet shooting champion.
Oh, okay.
Gold medalist, silver and gold, and his son is also a world champion. And he has a whole system on how to train, and he does a lot. He's super heavy on visualization, like mega heavy. And he used to train 6 hours a day visually.
Whoa.
Yeah, like an extreme experiment. And he went from silver to gold. Like he's a very fascinating guy. He has a whole system. He wrote a great book called With Winning in Mind. One of the best books in the game.
Oh, I'm gonna write that down. With winning in mind.
Yeah.
And it's all about visualizing?
Yes, absolutely.
That's
it's his journey in like he talks about how everybody has a self-image, and you live up to your self-image. So he has this thing where, like, let's say he does something good in practice. Let's say you landed a good throw in practice or a submission. He would tell himself, he'll give him a cue, that's me. That's me. If he did something wrong in practice, he would visualize him doing it right. And he'd be like, that's me. So he's building his self-image. So then he says like guys, when they're under the lights, the guys who screw up, the guys who choke, is because they couldn't visualize themselves as a winner. They couldn't, but he's not talking about visualizing yourself raising your hand. He's talking about visualizing the process of winning. Like actually doing every step so that you're telling your subconscious mind, this is where you're going. Like he's leading, like he has a very interesting system. And I think it makes a lot of sense because guys who relive the bad in practice, those are the guys who are going to screw up again.
How do you spell his name?
Laney Basham. It's Basheh. No,
SSHAM.
SSHAM?
Yeah.
And how do you spell his first name? Lenny?
Laney.
Laney?
Yeah, this guy's awesome.
Lanny. Wow, what a crazy name.
Yeah.
Lanny Basham.
That's a good way to remember him.
N-N-Y. All right, man. You know what? When I go on vacation, I might get that book and put it on the Kindle.
Yeah, you can get the audio too.
Oh.
It's got audio.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
I like that, man. I like, because visualization, particularly, have you visualized in the isolation tank before?
Yeah.
That's my favorite. That's like visualization squared. Because you can imagine yourself going through movements. You could see them, and when your body's just floating around in there, you have more access to resources. Your brain sort of works better. You can picture things better.
You lose what's real, what's dream, what's thought.
Yeah.
Like, it's all real now.
Yeah. 6 hours a day pretending you're shooting shit.
Yeah.
Pating, pating.
Yeah. And why I believe the system works is because not only was he champion, his son also went through his curriculum and he became a champion. And shooting is a hard sport.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Yeah, and it's a lot about getting everything lined up perfectly, squeezing the trigger at the right time. Don't jerk the gun. Follow the clay pigeon, doom, knowing when to pull. Yeah.
Yeah, it's very mental.
So many things are, man. How much, when you're training young fighters, how much time do you spend with them, talking to them about how to think?
I always tell fighters that far from the fight, it's 99% physical. We have to go through the routine. We have to drill. We have to make these skills instinctual. Closer we are to the fight, like the week of the fight, now it's 99% mental. I can't train you no more. I can't make you go back into recovery. The fight's coming this week. So as we get closer to the fight, it becomes more and more mental.
Do you tell them to stay off social media the week of the fight?
Some of them, that's how they let their energy go.
I know, but it's so nuts.
Yeah.
You see fighters 3 days out fighting with people on Twitter. I'm like, what are you doing,
But some people are like that. That's how they vent.
Yeah.
Me, I'm not like that. Me, I'm like, you don't see me. I have a YouTube channel, but everything else, I don't do too much social media.
Smart. Yeah.
But some people, they vent. Some people, they feel like it's how they connect. Like, I don't know if it's going to help them or hurt them, but I like them to be surrounded with the training partners before the fight. Just training partners, like least amount of public as possible. That's how I like to do it. But if the guy feels comfortable with his wife and daughter and that's up to him. But I feel like when you're going to war, I wouldn't bring my family to war.
Right.
That's how like me and George used to look at it. We're going to war. Don't bring your family, your kids. Like, who wants his kid? Like, I know some fighters do, but I wouldn't want my child in the arena when I'm fighting.
Right.
Because I'll be thinking about them.
Well, I remember watching the fight this weekend with Luis Ortiz and Wilder. When you see Luis Ortiz's family sitting there watching, and then Wilder starches him. Like, it makes you think.
Yeah, we can handle it. The family, maybe they can't.
Right.
You know, maybe that kid now is scarred.
Right.
I've seen a guy walk his son to the fight, like an infant, like a 5-year-old.
Yeah.
Bring him to this is like a local fight. Bring him to the corner, like VIP seating. He gets knocked out really bad. This kid's 5 years old watching his dad like totally out.
Oh.
And people are cheering and it's like, why'd you bring your son here? Like, we're not here to, we're not here to play games.
It's also a distraction.
Yeah.
It's a distraction whether you like it or not. You have to think about the kid. You're holding the kid's hand.
It's ridiculous.
And by the way, the universe doesn't give a fuck if you're holding your kid's hand. If you didn't practice correctly and if you're not skilled enough, you're going to get hit.
Yeah.
Yeah, and if you're not as good as the person you're fighting, your kid's going to watch you get starched.
I think this is a very bad strategy. Like, it could be a child abuse too. Like, just leave the kid. This is not their arena. Yeah. This is not for them.
It can fuck a kid's head up.
Me, I don't let my kids watch fights where they know the people fighting.
Oh,
not live anyway. Not live. Unless, if it went well, let's say it's a sub, I'll let them watch. But I don't let them watch live. I don't know what's happening. I don't know what's going to happen. Like, they know that person. They see that person regularly. You know? I tell my wife, don't, when the fights are going on, let them go play, put them in another room. Like, don't let them watch these fights. Because you never know. Yeah,
my kids started coming into the room to watch when I was watching fights on TV when they were like 6 or 7. And I have to tell them, I don't know if you're ready to watch this.
Yeah.
This is not good.
Yeah.
And I'm like, these people are hurting each other. So why are they hurting each other, Daddy? I'm like, this is a fight. They're fighting. And she's like, why do you tell these people, you do the commentator, so you tell the people what's happening? I go, I explain what's happening. She goes, do you like it when they beat each other up? I'm like, it's complicated. It is complicated. Like, for me, the hardest thing is if I really know someone and I like them, watch them get fucked up. And then also being excited about the guy who fucked them up. It's really hard. That's really hard to do.
I remember when Machida knocked out Marco. I'm forgetting his name now. The founder of Reign MMA, Munoz.
Oh,
and how he treated him after. He picked him up.
Yes.
He bowed to him. He hugged him. And this
left high kick.
Yeah, this made me feel better. And I was like, you know what? We're not trying to hurt people here.
Right.
Like, this is just.
Well, they were
just
friends too. That was a weird one.
Yeah. But there was a respect, and I want to hurt you more than I have to. And this was beautiful.
Yes. Yeah. Well, Machida had some great moments like that, man.
Yeah.
Now, is George done? Like, what is he doing? How often does he train?
All the time, man.
All the time.
It's a machine. It's a machine. Dude, I'm telling you.
I believe
if Usman or Colby gets injured, like...
Really?
I don't know. I don't want to talk for George, but man, he can kill anybody. He can kill anybody, this man. He's the world's greatest martial artist.
Really?
I think so. I'm telling you, he's a monster. Like, I was training with him Saturday. The guy's an animal.
Well, you know what? When he came back and fought Bisping, I was like, man, this is going to be interesting to see. And he came back and he looked fucking better than ever. His hands look great. His kicks look perfect. Everything. And that rear naked choke was one of the best rear naked chokes to win a title I've ever seen in my life.
Yes.
Because it wasn't this one with the palm on the back of the head. It was cinched up. It was rock solid. And his jiu-jitsu looked so fucking sharp, man.
Yeah.
It's like he clearly showed that he had been training the whole time. That even though he hadn't fought in those years, he had been training hard. He looked better.
He loves to train. Like Saturday, he trained. He finished all his rounds. Then he was coaching some blue belts and purple belts and just kind of hanging out with them, talking technique. The guy loves this stuff, man. But that's why I tell people, if you love something,
Look at him.
you'll do a lot of
I'm
it.
thinking. Knowledge is power. Look at him.
He's such a nutcase, George. He's crazy.
He's great.
He always tells me, like, so many crazy characters in MMA. Like, I'm like,
Yeah,
dude,
like you, bro.
You're the craziest one of all. No, I'm not.
He thinks aliens are stealing his time.
Oh my god, dude! I share a hotel room with him many times. He puts a foam roller against the door like this.
Why does he do that?
I'm like, George, why? Like, I moved it. I put it away.
Right.
No, bro, leave it there. I'm like, for what? In case the aliens get us, he'll know. The next day he'll know because the foam roller was moved.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Doesn't he think aliens can come through walls? How are they taking him out? They're just taking him through the hallway holding his hand?
Because they wipe his memory after. But he'll know because they don't know. He put the foam roller there. So when they move it, he'll remember. It's a cue for him to remember. Nah.
What if he's right? What if the aliens
for sure
really
he's
are
right.
experimenting on him? What if they really come down, they say, this is the world's greatest martial artist. We are going to run tests on him.
He's awesome, man. I don't know what to say about his mind.
And he's got to be like 37 now, right?
He's older.
Is he 38?
38 now,
38?
yeah, 38.
Does he have like a thought in mind of like when he's going to definitely like throw it in, or is he just...
It has to be, in my opinion, it's going to have to be. I don't want to talk for him, okay? But I think the thing that's going to motivate him is a mega fight.
Right.
Like, he doesn't want to be champion again and fight every 3-4 months. Like, that's done.
Right.
That's not going to happen no more.
Uh.
But one mega fight. Invite him back for a mega fight. See if you could entice him. Because he's a competitor, man. He's still training. He's still ripped, shredded, fighting. He could do 5 rounds. I mean, like, maybe not he'll do 5 rounds right away, but he needs a few weeks. Then he's doing 5 rounds. Like, he's close to being... Like, he can get in fight shape. He's there. He's just a monster, man. I'm telling you. Like, he's a very young 38-year-old. Like, I would tell you he's 20 years old.
Really?
Yeah.
He's in that good a shape.
Oh my God, are you kidding me? He's a monster.
That's crazy that he kept the a lot of the guys, they stop fighting and they just lose that discipline. They just don't want to train anymore.
He loves it.
Well, that's what's important about George, is that he's a martial artist. He's always been a martial artist, and that desire to learn and that enjoying the training and the struggle.
Yeah, to him, it's happy. For me too. When I go to the gym,
why doesn't the UFC taunt him?
Why
don't they say, George, we got a fight for you, buddy?
Khabib.
Yeah. Well, listen, that would be... Well, first of all, I want to see Tony Ferguson versus Khabib.
Yes,
no
yes,
offense.
yes.
What is this? Dana White. UFC targeting Khabib Nurmagomedov, Tony Ferguson for April. Ooh.
Must happen.
Must. Barclays Center in Brooklyn. Oh, shit. That means
Brooklyn.
That means I'm going back to Peter Luger Steakhouse. April 18th, that's a good fight. I like that fight. I like that fight a lot. Please, Tony, don't fall down and hurt your knee. Please, baby Jesus, make this happen.
This is the 5th time they booked them.
Is it that many times?
5th time.
Oh, my God.
4
if
times.
If it doesn't happen, I got to think
forget
there's
about
some fucking bad...
Listen.
There's some bad voodoo on this one.
If this one doesn't happen, because they both pulled out twice on each side.
That's so crazy.
Injury, this, that.
Please.
One of them was the day of the win, I think. There was a pull-out.
April. Yes. Make it happen.
Wow.
Come on.
That's got to
Dude,
happen.
Fuck yeah.
Whoever wins that is the greatest lightweight of all time.
It's a good argument for it.
Can you argue against that?
No, I mean, Tony's had an incredible streak.
Incredible.
I mean, look
and
at
he never lost his title.
No. And the only fight he lost, he broke his arm. He lost to Michael Johnson.
A long time ago.
Broke his arm
Yep.
and then finished the fight and lost the decision. But I think he blocked a kick, snapped his forearm. That guy has freakish cardio.
Amazing.
Freakish.
Amazing.
I mean, he goes back to the corner, not even breathing heavy. His opponent's exhausted. The opponent's face looks like it's gone through a fucking meat grinder. I mean, what is in his fucking knuckles, man? That guy punches people and just breaks their face apart. It's crazy. Never
insane.
gets tired. Tremendous submission game. Tremendous striking game. And very awkward. His striking game is extremely awkward.
Yes.
Very hard to read what he's doing.
He's unpredictable.
Yeah.
Elbows, knees, spinning,
everything.
Shooting, rolling on the ground.
Super creative.
The way he beat Donald was extremely impressive.
Yeah, because Donald's a really good striker. And he battered him on the feet. I mean, Donald's face was a mess.
Round 1 was close.
Yeah.
Round 1 was close.
Well, he's feeling him out.
Yes, but round 2 was like, what happened now? Like,
Right.
this is just another dimension. Like, he just jumped ahead, Tony.
Yep. He just ramped it up. And when he beat up Pettis like that, I was like, Jesus Christ.
Oh, yeah.
You know, he's something special, man. He's something special, and I got to see him fight for the title. You know, I mean, and also I really disagreed with them stripping his interim title because he hurt his knee. Like, come on, man. The guy's doing fucking all this press for you guys. He falls down in a freak accident and hurts his knee, and you take away the interim title?
Injury, man.
Yeah.
Injury. And in MMA, it's always knees or shoulders you have to protect. Of course, spine. But knees and shoulders, you have to go under the knife. Now it could really alter your career.
Yep.
ACL, PCL, these things you should never, like, you should do everything in your power to avoid these. Like, I think George's career would have been a lot longer. Obviously, it would have been if he didn't have those ACL injuries. What we know today, we could have avoided it.
Yeah.
But the way we were training, we were doing certain things that were, a little bit crazy. And now today,
like what kind of things?
Like you had Kelly Starrett on the show.
Sure.
This guy's a genius, man. I'm telling you. Like, we sent George there.
He's amazing.
He is amazing.
His book, Becoming a Supple Leopard.
Oh my God,
fantastic.
I always tell people this is the greatest training book in the game. People are like, oh, that's an exaggeration. No, it's not, because form is everything. If you don't have great form, you're gonna get injured. Like, as I get older, I realize how important form is. Like, form is everything. And he has these rules in the book that protect your knee. And George was doing the valgus fault all his career, and I never noticed it until I read his manual.
What was he doing? The what?
They call it the valgus.
What is that?
It's when you jump and your knees bow in.
Oh,
George always does that. I've seen George do 1,000 backflips. He's always landing like that.
Yeah.
His knees bowing in.
Yeah.
And I was reading the book, and I was like, George had an ACL injury already. I was reading the book, and I was like, holy moly, I do this fault. We all do this. He's like, oh, this will tear your ACL. I'm like, what, really? So I called him up. I'm like, hey, would you work with George? George went there. He corrected him, and we haven't had an injury since. And it's so important because everybody hurts their knee in the game. Everybody, jiu-jitsu guys. And I'm always like telling them, guys, read the book. Guys won't even read the book. It's a picture book. It's super simple. He says there's two things. There's two rules to live by. One is alignment, and the other one, avoid overtension in the muscle. That's why I bought the DMS. You ever heard of DMS? Deep Muscle Stimulator. So
okay.
That's why I started that machine. You remember? It loosens up the muscle. You never have a tight muscle.
Let's tell everybody about the Tim Tam, because I'm a bit a fan of that Tim Tam since you brought it in here. We have one right behind you. See that one? Yeah. But now there's a new one that's fucking 10 times better with heat. The new Tim Tam with heat is incredible. Yeah, bring it out, because here's the thing about this too. It sounds like a commercial, but it's just for you. This is for you. This has nothing to do with selling things. Hear how loud this is? The new one is way quieter. Sounds like I'm doing a Tim Tam commercial. I think I am. But listen how much quieter that is. Right next to it. Same thing. That's one. And here's the other one. Ready? Here's the other one. See?
Dude.
Much quieter.
This thing saved your career.
It keeps going.
Yeah, you gotta click the trigger finger. Now you're gonna there's 3 speeds.
Oh.
Most powerful machine in the game.
Oh, I like it. Stays on too.
Yes. Click it one more time. That's 2,800 RPM, 32 millimeters travel.
Oh, you know what girls are going to use this for, right? They don't need boyfriends anymore.
No.
Now, you know what would be nice too? This could sit in a vise, like clamp it, and then lean up against like a rack, like a monster rack, and like
coming out 2020.
Really?
Yeah.
What are you gonna have?
You can clamp it on anything, absolutely anything.
I like that. Yeah.
That's what
I need. That
we have a lock trigger.
Heat. See that, Jamie? Heat.
Dude,
it's fucking warm.
If you have a tight muscle in your body, you got to kill it.
Yeah.
Like, if your hamstring is tight, you're gonna blow your ACL.
Yes.
If you're like, yesterday I was sitting in an airplane. This is what Kelly Starrett says. He says, I'm telling you, this guy changed my career. He says, look, if you sit in an airplane or in a chair, he has a great book on sitting. Like, sitting is the new smoking. Like, don't sit all day. Like, especially you sit all day.
Yeah.
You got to know how to sit, because you cripple your back.
I don't know how to sit.
And it's like you're making this muscle tight. And then what happens when you go and do athletics? Your hips are tight.
Right.
When you're sitting for prolonged hours, you're creating overtension in certain parts of your body. There are rules to sitting. Like, I used to sit wrong. My back, I used to have sciatica, horrible sciatica. This guy fixed me up, and I'm telling you, I wouldn't be able to train as much as I do if it wasn't for him.
Well, I'll tell you what helped me is these fucking chairs. What
do you got?
They're called Fully.
Yeah, this is good.
Yeah. Oh my God, it's called the Capisco, rather, from a company called Fully. Actually, I think they changed the name of the company again. Find out, because I saw it on Instagram. I was like, that's the chair I have, but I don't know. But anyway, these I bought these from my house. I bought these. These are fucking phenomenal because they force you to sit erect.
I've noticed.
You can't like slump. If you slump like this, I mean, I used to have like regular office chairs. The way my ass would sit into them, I would slump, and by the end of a podcast, the middle of my back would be hurting. I'm like,
But you know what's the best, in my opinion, is sitting lotus. Like when you cross your legs. They have chairs that are.
There it is. Fully. Yeah, it is fully. It's called the Capisco by Hag, H-A-G. Capisco by Hag. That's a H with like a weird little thing on top of it. What is that? Is that an actual H? A? The A rather? What is that? What the fuck is that A? Is that a new A? What is that? A as in lowercase. Huh. It's Swedish. Okay. So it's their version of an A. Cut it out. Cut it out with your fucking extra A. But anyway, the chair is amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I used to.
So a lotus chair.
Yeah, if you cross your legs, like there's a chair, it's just a bigger platform on where you're sitting, the cushion is wider, and you can cross your legs like you're in the lotus position.
Yeah.
That keeps your spine stable. That's why he says, like, you see people who meditate, they sit in a particular way. And your spine has to be neutral. So for me, the ultimate way to sit, for me personally, like you see the Japanese, they sit on the floor.
Yeah.
They cross they're in a lotus position. And of course, a wide stance. Yeah, kind of like that. But yeah, there you go. Now you can relax. Oh, you're flexible.
I do the yoga.
Ah, you're very flexible.
I came here right from yoga class.
Did you?
Yeah. Yeah, I try to do yoga at least twice a week.
So anyways, this book, he talks about all the various faults people do. Like how to create torque in your body, man, the guy's he's brilliant.
Yeah, he is. I had him on the podcast many years ago. Back in the early days. I have to have him on again. This would be good to sit like this, but it'd be annoying after a while.
You'd have to have a wider platform, like a wider cushion. Then you can get comfortable and kind of chill.
Yeah, but even then, I don't know if I could do that for a whole podcast. Maybe barefoot.
There's a variety of ways he sits. He has a book on just sitting.
That's so ridiculous.
Yeah, because people get injured because of prolonged sitting.
But what do you think about those standing desks?
Those are the best. He recommends them highly.
There's some that have like weird platforms too, where the platform's like moving.
So
like they wiggle and go back and forth, so you're always standing kind of funky.
This is what he says is the ultimate.
He made
Fidget
this
bar?
Yeah, for standing desks. It's designed by Kelly Starrett.
Yeah, this is it. This is what you got to do. Like also,
what is he doing there?
Yeah, go ahead.
Just sitting.
You can move your leg back and forth. It's like a swing almost.
Oh, okay.
But like, think of a bar stool. You know, you have a place to put your foot. You have a place to sit, and you can get up. You're almost sitting and standing every so often. So there's always this motion, this movement, and you need this mobility because what happens to a muscle that's just not moving for hours and hours? It gets super tight.
So is that just the bar, or does he sell the desk too? That's a standing. That looks like a rigid, solid standing desk. Scroll down, Jamie, so I could see that.
Bar.
Scroll down so I could see that. So that is just something that someone made to their specific height.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What do you call that bar? And when you're at a bar, the bar, you can put your foot on it. You know, there's the bar, and then you can put your foot on the bar on the bottom of the bar.
I think it's the put your foot on it bar.
This is what it mimics.
Yeah, that makes
he says
sense.
That's what you got to do when you're sitting.
That makes sense.
He says like the bar is the best way to sit. Like
so a bar under here would be good if I had a bar.
If you had a
a bar, or I need one of them under my chair.
These chairs have it now.
They do?
Yours might be the older one, but the new ones they sell.
Well, what the fuck?
Well, just grab the other one.
Well, what the fuck? No, it does have a thing. There is some sort of a bar here. My feet have this thing.
Yeah,
that
so
it?
You got it. Yeah.
So you're supposed to sit with your feet on that?
Yeah.
There we go.
I think this table maybe is 3 inches too low.
Yeah, it's a little too low.
Yeah, it's
like
got to be higher.
Banging into my, but it's perfect for elbow sit. That's actually not bad to sit like that.
Oh yeah, you'll get real comfortable.
I kind of like that.
Yeah, me when I sit, it's always like this. At home, I can't sit any other way. My back's finished.
This is actually better. I've never sat. This is actually, for me, it wedges my knees underneath this table. This might be perfect.
I'm telling you. Me, when I eat at home, I have this is how I sit.
Really?
I can't sit any other way. My back is finished. I'm telling you. Like, my back is healthy now. But if, like, when I fly, I have to take care of my back. As soon as I get to the hotel, I got to keep away all the tension in my hips and my glutes. Like, I have to make sure.
What is your issues with your back, just from training?
I have it here, right here. This whole area I do whenever I fly. Because I'm sitting down and my muscles just get super tight, super tight.
Does your back itself, the spine itself, get tense, or just the lower part near your glutes?
I had a bulging disc, L4, L5. Gone.
Really?
Gone.
How'd you get that to go away?
Natural decompression. So basically, it's in Kelly Starrett's book. You lie down on your back. Imagine lying down on your back, and you raise your legs. And you put them on a platform. Like, let's say I was on the floor and I put my feet up on a...
Oh, I see. Yeah.
Okay, and you put one of those twin lacrosse balls or one lacrosse ball, and you kind of you put it under your back and you just kind of wedge. Because you're lying down, you're naturally decompressing the spine. Anyways, in his book, he shows you how to take care of your back. I just did those exercises religiously. The problem was it took a long time. That's why I started this thing. This thing I do it instead of going to the gym and rolling up and down and for 45 minutes, I could get it done in 5 minutes, super fast. Pop, 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 I'm done, you know. And you have to do it. Like the manager at my gym just popped his heel cord just by doing a round off. The guy, he's an ex-gymnast. He's always doing round offs in the gym. He's always fooling around.
You mean his Achilles tendon? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, heel cord popped.
Oh.
He was warmed up. He was training for an hour. He's like, oh, let me do a round off. Like he does this like routine. Pops his heel cord. I'm like, dude, I can't afford that to happen to me.
Yeah, that's a
because
bad
he's
one.
out for a month. Like it's a crazy surgery. He just did it, and it's a lot of physiotherapy. And like, if I did that, it'd probably destroy my business. Like I got to be in the gym. You know, I got fighters to train. I got people to.
Right.
Like I'm too busy to have a heel cord injury. You know, like these kind of things can ruin a career. If you get one ACL tear, it's very bad for your career. If you have two, it could ruin your career. Like George, when it happened the second time, okay, he had the finances and the name. He was already built. He could take a year off.
Right. But if he was on the way up.
If that happened in the first or second year of his career, his career would have been over. Like I've had fighters have 2 ACL tears. Early in their career's over. Why? The guy's been out for a year. So now he's going to do it again. And then 2 years later, because you know, typically your other ACL pops 2 years later. Yeah, you know, if you pop your ACL on the right, you're a candidate now for the left.
Right.
2 years later, pop. I hope you're rich and famous already. I hope you built your name. I hope you put enough money in the bank because that's a long time to be on the sidelines. Now imagine you have 3 ACL injuries. You're pretty much done.
Yeah.
You know, it's a lot to come back from, man. Like when George fought Condit, he'd come back from an ACL injury. Man, that was a horrific training camp because it was such a small window. Look, are you okay enough to do the training camp? Some doctors are saying yes, not sure. Well, no, it was such a stressful time because that fight was happening on a particular date. And George was making his comeback. I would have liked a few more months to get him ready. Like it was a small window to fit in that big fight. And luckily it worked out. But ACL injuries is something very serious.
Yeah, I've had both of them done.
Yeah?
Yeah.
What was that? What was the recovery like?
Not good.
No.
This one was way harder, though. The left one was a patella tendon graft where they cut your own patella tendon and drill it in and open you up like a fish and screw it in place. This one was a cadaver. This was way easier. This one was 6 months. I was done.
How long was the graft?
More than a year before it felt right.
More than a year. Imagine.
Yeah, more than a year before it felt right. I could do stuff, but it just always hurt, and I couldn't get on my knees. Like if I was on my knees, I was gonna like start from a kneeling position. It would hurt like hell.
Yeah.
Just like kneeling to pick something up, because they take a chunk of your bone out.
Yeah.
You know, and that takes a long time to feel right.
Thank God.
Yeah.
I know I'm gonna break my ACL now because I say this next week.
No.
I never pop my ACL. Thank God. And I think about it all the time. Like I'm very careful, and I do a lot of leg locks, and my students are leg lockers. But in the gym, we're very controlled. Like I don't like guys to crank the leg lock. Hold 3 seconds, and that's it.
Yeah. And tap quick.
Yes, and I tap me. I don't care if somebody grabs me in the leg lock. Tap.
Yes.
We do leg lock situation. It's very safe if you have a good culture in the gym. But some guys are just
sometimes it spazzes. Yeah.
And those guys, I don't let them do leg locks or off the mat.
Well, you know, Dr. Roddy McGee out of Vegas, he does a lot of work with the UFC fighters. He's an orthopedic surgeon. They have some new technique where they can reattach ACLs where they don't have to get a cadaver graft anymore.
Really?
Yeah.
Synthetic?
They reattach your own torn ACL. They put it back together again.
Wow.
And they had one athlete, I forget what sport it was, but he did it, and then 4 months after the surgery, competed in the Olympics.
Really?
Yes.
That's amazing.
Yeah, he showed me videos of this guy, and he also showed me, it's like they take the cord, like say as the ACL snaps, so the ligament snaps, they put it back together again. They have this crazy, intricate method of stitching it all back together again. And then it heals up much faster that way. And I think they do it in conjunction with stem cells. They use stem cells as well to accelerate.
I've never heard
healing.
of that.
It's a very new thing. I'll connect you to him. You
That
would
would be
love
great.
him.
Yeah.
He's been on the podcast before too.
Okay.
He's a great guy, and he's on the cutting edge. He's always like going to all these different conferences and finding out about these new research projects that have been done on new healing methods and surgery methods and stuff like that. He's always on top. A young guy, very on top of it. But he's worked with a lot of UFC fighters. Last time I saw Francis in his office, Francis Ngannou was in there getting some stem cell shots in his arm.
Injuries is the worst, man.
Fuck,
you gotta stay away from injuries.
There's no way.
When you come to Tristar, the gym is jam packed. And I had one friend of mine, an instructor from another province, and he came to the gym and he was shocked how much students I have. And I was like, yeah, because here when you come to train, nobody gets injured. Like that's one of my key secrets. Like when you come in here, if I see any guy going out of control, like it depends, you know, the more experienced you are, the more I let you guys go hard. Mm-hmm. But if you're a beginner, like if I see two beginners killing each other, like I put a stop to it. I put him with a blue belt. The blue belt's he's gonna like teach him, take him under his wing, but he's not gonna brutalize him. Because what happens, you're losing that student. One of those two is gonna get brutalized. He's not coming back.
Right.
And then that's one less guy in the practice room. That guy, I could have developed him. Give me a year or two. He's a good training partner for my other guys. It's like a pyramid. Eh? Give me 5 years with him. Now all of a sudden he's a key training partner. Oh, 7 years now he's a winner. He's a champion. He's going pro. That guy, you lost him on day one because you smacked him around. You didn't think he's anybody. Mm-hmm. You know, like give me time with that guy. I'm gonna mold him. Yes. Let me season him. So that's why I like to train at my gym, because I know everybody has that kind of attitude. I always tell my students, if your partner gets injured, it's your fault. Like go in with that mentality. When you get good, like my students, I have some students that are knuckleheads. They're like, you know, they're cowboys, you know. I tell them, by the time you're good, you're going to be crippled. Like, you know, your shoulder, like you got to black belt, but you got to retire now, or you got to stop training. I'm very big on technique, physical conditioning, but rough sparring has to be like controlled or done very rarely, or and in a smart way, because so many talented kids get busted up. Mm-hmm. So many. Like it's crazy. So MMA, the injuries are ridiculous.
Yeah, MMA, jiu-jitsu, even Muay Thai, and just all martial arts. I mean, I think that's so important to treat it like your training partner is someone who you're in partnership with. Mm-hmm. Like you're helping each other.
Yeah.
And you need them. If you don't have good training partners, you're never going to be good.
This is something I learned from George, because I'll tell you, the one guy who never hurts anybody in practice is George. He's the safest guy to train with. I'm telling you, I've seen him hurt like 3 people in practice. All the years I've seen him fight.
That's amazing.
I could tell you 3 times he hurt a guy, like bad. And it was always accidental, obviously. And one case was the guy got out of control and George just kind of lit him up. But that's very rare, because George will just like finish the round. That's probably that guy. That guy's like, you know, he's going to hurt himself if he continues. But he's very controlled when he trains. But that's why everybody wants to train with George. It's crazy. Like if I would say who wants to go with George, everybody's going to raise their hand.
It's crazy.
Because it's going to be a great experience. Mm-hmm. That's the kind of guy, there's some students I have that nobody wants to train with.
Because they're crazy.
Yeah, and I always tell them straight up. Like sometimes I roll with people and they scratch my hand. That's one thing I hate. When they scratch, like you're rolling and they dig their nails. Yeah. They're digging their nails because they're nervous. Right. I won't roll with that guy for a while, because every time I wash my hands are stinging. Oh, God. Yeah. You know, like it's such an annoyance to have scratch. Like, you know, it's painful. Yeah. Every time you wash your hands and then I roll, somebody grabs my hand. It's like, you know, it's like a paper cut. And it's like, or a guy who kicks you in the groin. He's too nervous. He's spazzy, and he kicks. I can't stand it. One guy poked me in the eye. I was blind for 2 hours, Joe.
Really?
I got to the hospital. My vision was still not there. I'm telling you, 2 hours, just because. And the guy was a seasoned wrestler. We're wrestling, and people are nervous because they're rolling with me. I'm the instructor. Some guys are just nervous because like, I got to show him I'm good. And he kind of did this ridiculous reaction, like a totally absurd reaction. And he poked me in the eye so bad. I tell you, my vision was gone for 2 hours. By the time I got to the hospital, I still wasn't seeing. I thought I lost my eye. I was freaking out. I was like, dude, I have one eye. I'm gonna have a glass eye. I was like, but luckily it was just like a swelling. I had such swelling inside my eye. When it went down, my vision came back. But I still see a light show. Like when I'm driving, I see lights.
Really? From that?
Yeah. They told me if one day you see like black polka dots, you have 2 days to get a surgery, or else you're gonna lose your eye, or something like that. Like, so now if one day my vision goes polka dot black, like I start seeing black spots, I have to rush the eye doctor. But luckily now it's been over a year, so my eye's fine.
When you say you see light shows, like what is it? Is it a retina tear?
Parker light. Like this. Wow. I'll be like, now I just.
Isn't that what Bisping said that caused him to retire? He started seeing lights in his right eye, or his left eye rather.
His right eye.
No, his right eye's all fucked up. His left eye, he started seeing lights in too.
Oh, really?
And that's what he said, I'm done.
Yeah, it's too dangerous.
Because he realized he's basically blind in one eye. Yeah. You see how he wears a glass eye or a cap.
You can see when he got hit by Kelvin. He didn't see that shot.
No, he didn't see that shot.
That's why it took him, like, when you don't see the shot, it's worse.
Well, he said he's effectively fighting blind in one eye for, since the Vitor fight, essentially.
Yeah, you can't see the depth. But yeah, I see lights here and there. And sometimes I turn my head because I think they're outside. I think the light is outside, but it's the
aliens. They've moved the roller.
I'm much better now though. But for like a year, I was like,
Fuck,
lights,
man.
light. I was seeing lights everywhere.
And did you get an MRI on it? Did they know what's going on?
Social medicine, Joe. Social medicine.
What does that mean?
You wait 8 hours in line, and then they give you the minimum care.
Oh, social. Yeah,
socialized medicine. Yeah. You wait 8 hours in line. You wait 8 hours in line.
Yeah.
And then they give you the minimum amount of treatment.
You're here in Los Angeles. Why don't you stop and visit some real doctors?
It's true. Yeah.
I would like you to get it checked out, though, if you're still seeing weird lights.
I hate doctors, man.
Really?
Oh, my God.
I love them.
Really?
Oh, yeah. They put me back together again.
I'd rather just like, I don't know. I believe in nutrition and exercise.
I do.
I feel like I'm gonna last.
I also believe in doctors.
Yeah. I know. I
believe
just scared
in everything good.
Yeah. I just have a fear of doctors.
I believe in water. I believe in a lot of good stuff.
Yeah. I know. But you know what it is? In Canada, you want to see a doctor, you have to wait a long time. Yeah. And I'm lucky because I have friends that are doctors, so I just call them up and I go see them. But man, to go do the tests and all this and waiting, it takes forever.
Yeah, I hear you, man. But yeah, eyes are, I mean, you know Winklejohn's story.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the craziest one. Holding pads for someone, the guy misses a kick on the pad and hits his toe into his eye. I mean, just crazy.
One more time. You can't have one more accident.
Yeah. You have one eye that's missing now. And the guy had a nice long fight career too. Never had any problems with his eyes and loses an eye that way. It's crazy.
When I hold pads, I hold the small. The most dangerous pad to hold is a small one.
Why is that?
Because there's a smaller target. So and plus you feel the kick. There's less between me and the kick.
Yeah.
And the knee.
Right.
This is a very dangerous pad to hold. And I hold sometimes for 7 fighters one night. 7 fighters.
Oh.
I always wear a cup, but I have nothing on my eyes.
Oh.
One time I got a kick in the head. I never had concussion in my life except for this time. The guy, he missed the pad. He just kicked wrong. I trying to move with it. Boom, hit me off the head. I'm telling you, I was seeing stars for like an hour and a half. Finished the whole training and didn't say a word to nobody. I was seeing like lights and I was concussed for sure. Acted normal, finished practice, went home. Well, not feeling well. Like kind of like I took it easy from then. But first time I get kicked in the head, pow! It's very dangerous to be a holder.
Yeah, it is.
One mistake.
It is. Yeah.
One thing though I wear for sure is a cup. When I hold, I always wear a cup.
Oh yeah.
I've been kicked in the groin holding. Like the pads are up here, the guy kicks you down there. What are you gonna do? But I'm always holding in a way to protect myself. But if I get a little bit sloppy, which can happen, you're tired. Boom, the holder can get hit really hard. You get really hurt. You get hit. I've been hit in the rib, full kick.
You get your organs battered too.
You can get very hurt.
And there's a lot of guys who let people kick them when they have those body shields on.
Yes,
they let them throw full power roundhouse kicks to the body.
Yeah, I do it. Freddie Roach, he got knocked out by Tyson.
Did he really?
He was telling me the story. Tyson knocked him out. He was holding pads for Tyson. Tyson knocked him out.
Oh my God.
Because sometimes the guy is in his head.
Yeah. He's
in his head. He doesn't like. You're holding for 3 punches and he throws a 4th one, but just because it flowed.
Right.
I don't think they're malicious. Like my guys are very, they're good kids. They're just in the flow, and sometimes sometimes they hit you. It's very dangerous. Oof. That's why when I hold pads, I'm always like on guard. Always. It's very dangerous. Pad holding is not easy. Very dangerous.
No, it's an art too.
Yeah.
There's something that's really, there's some people that do it really well, and those people are cherished. And then there's some people that just, they just do basic shit. You might as well hit the bag. Yeah.
But Wink, he's a great, I've been in the practice room with him. He's a great trainer. But he has one, like now he has to wear the glasses, I'm sure. Like I've seen him wear glasses now. This is so dangerous, man. So he can't lose, he can't get hit, he cannot afford one more accident.
Right, of course. And there's nothing they can do about it, right?
No, he's a glass eye.
Is it glass eye?
Yeah, he has one eye that's glass.
Oh, I didn't know it was
glass. It's glass eye.
I thought
it's gone.
Wow.
Unless he gets an organ transplant, maybe. I don't know if they can ever do that.
Do they do that?
I don't know.
Fuck, what kind of operation would that be?
I don't know. I don't know if if they can maybe get him a donor one day. I don't know. But man, I wouldn't want to lose my vision.
Yeah. For us, we just did 3 hours.
Did we?
25 minutes, man. It's 6:25. Awesome. Isn't that crazy?
Awesome, man.
What are the odds?
I had a blast.
So I had a blast too. So this new Tim Tam,
yes.
Is it available now? Can you buy it already?
Yes, free shipping worldwide right now. So get to it if you want one, man. Free shipping. I got you one with your name on it.
Thank you. Listen, folks, I'm not blowing smoke up his ass. This thing is fucking amazing. And the other one is amazing. The old one's amazing. This one's even better. And the heat function.
This
Incredible.
one, 32 millimeter travel. This one, 26. It's more powerful, this one. Most powerful one in the world, and the only one in the world with heat. The only one.
The only one.
The only one in the world.
This is the shit. I love it. TriStar, Montreal. If you're a trainer, or if you're a fighter, rather, and you want to be trained by the best, it's one place to go. My man.
Thank you, brother.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate you, man. Thank you very much. Firas Zahabi, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you. Bye.
Awesome, man. Thank you, guys. That was great.